Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular council meeting for the purposes of the operational budget on December 4th, held in Town Chamber. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 5:04 p.m. And thank you for joining us in chamber, everyone, and online. So my goal is, we have a number of people that live out of town. My goal is to conclude our business today on or before 8 p.m. so that we can all get home safely, and that's the targeted goal. So I will deliver the land acknowledgement at this time. The town of Smoky Lake respectfully acknowledges that we are situated on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional lands of the First Nation and Métis people. The adoption of the agenda, any additions or deletions? Going around the room. And we're going to go counterclockwise. Councillor Kulak, do you feel comfortable adopting?
I move.
Okay, the Councillor Kulak adopts the agenda as presented. All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. On to 4.1. Cost of living increase adjustment, COLA 2026. There's a request for decision prepared for us on page 3, and it was prepared and it will be presented by CAO Fighton. Molly, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And I will just read through everything that's here. I apologize, there's a lot, but I feel it is important to go through it. I'm not going to shoot off the hip on this one. So if you go to the background, municipalities routinely provide an annual COLA, otherwise cost of living adjustment, to maintain internal wage competitiveness, supports retention, and recognizes the increased cost of living borne by employees. COLA is commonly applied to council remuneration as well. That's to maintain equity, transparency, and ensure that compensation reflects the economic conditions without politicizing wage adjustments. So for the town of Smoky Lake, no significant structural wage adjustments were implemented in 2025, but inflation continues to exert pressures on the town and employees. And so it's affecting both staff and elected officials. And this is an Alberta-wide thing. This is, I guess, a standard practice for municipalities across Alberta. I've provided a little bit of information just in regards to what typically influences the cost of living adjustment levels. So some municipalities go according to the Alberta Consumer Price Index, CPI, which is a 12-month average. According to 2025 numbers, it's at about 3%. This does fluctuate. Many communities in the province are forecasting or preparing to bring forward at 2.5 to 3.5, but of course that's not a locked-in framework. Municipalities may choose to look at other numbers as well. For union environments, which of course is not us, but just for some other background information, many unionized municipalities have their settlements ranging from 2.75 to 3.25. And you'll notice the information that's provided from Smoky Lake County as unionized. They are doing the 4% COLA for 2026. But I've also provided some background information on surrounding municipalities that would be more comparable. So the Village of Andrew is bringing forward a 2% COLA. Town of Redwater theirs is aligned directly in conjunction with the CPI rates. I've provided an attachment policy from that was provided by their CAO, and I'll get to that in a little bit in terms of a recommendation. But the town of Elk Point, they're proposing a 2% increase, and Mundare is just slightly higher at 2.5. Cost of living pressure increases, I'm sure this isn't new, but just to recap, utilities, fuel, insurance, and household goods remain above the pre-pandemic baselines. So ultimately, it helps us stay competitive in attracting and retaining qualified staff. It supports organization stability and prevents the wage compression issues. And it ensures council remuneration also remains fair and, as I mentioned, depoliticized. It avoids having the optics or administrative burden of a case-by-case adjustment. It's just something that's applied more consistently on an annual basis, typically. What else can I say? Council compensation alignment. I think I covered it, but it's recommended that council would consider applying that across the board, not just to staff or not just to council. It's considered best municipal practice. Of importance, I would say that it also prevents the need for us to do significant increases down the road. I know I was talking with Rodney about this a little bit at the last session too, and he said the expression, you just kick the can down the road. Some municipalities will face a larger catch-up period if they don't, kind of keep up with that consistent percentage on a smaller scale each year. I've just highlighted to reiterate that COLA is not a performance reward. It's simply to make sure that we stay equitable and competitive relative to inflation. It's not about salary. It's again not about performance. It's just to keep up with society in a nutshell. So the 2% range is what we are recommending as administration believes that's financially manageable. It does align with the surrounding municipalities. Gives us a bit more predictability in terms of ongoing multi-year planning if we were to look at, especially through something like Redwater and a policy. So I've just again provided that as an example. One of the recommendations, or I should say, it is a recommendation, but it is also an option that council consider, is to look at drafting a policy down the road. Doesn't have to impact the decision today for this year, but it's just something we can work towards to have a more consistent process that's kind of in alignment with municipal practices and keeping up for the percentage increase. A lot there.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And it was very well prepared. Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Chern.
I might have missed that, but what's our past like 5-year history?
Oh, sorry.
It's on page.
Yeah.
Oh, on page.
I skipped over that just because there was a lot there, but if you look at the last pages there, we provided the motions from 2020 onward. Yeah. So and thank you for mentioning that. I did skip over a lot, but if we look at that 2% COLA increase for our 2026 operational budget, we're estimating that to be just over $18,000 all in. So that would be what that financial impact is for the year.
Okay, and so, so just that is captured, and thank you for that, Molly. That's captured on page 7 in just under the legislation in the budget financial. So looking around the room for some more discussion or questions. I have a few questions. 1.5.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah. And so, it was very well prepared. We go back on page 7, right back to 2020. And so I looked at it too, and I think, so we know inflation rate is at 2.16% as of the end of October. So I think the request of 2.5 is pretty on par. So I'm a little concerned with, and we spoke to, I don't want to exhaust this, but we spoke to the FTE. So we have 10.5 FTE, and with going back to the org chart, with Rochelle's department for FCSS, we have 2.5s, so 2 people at a 0.5 position, and then we have the navigator program at a 1.5 FTE, but that's not in our consolidated 10.5. So I want to make sure that if we are doing a COLA, would those employees be reflected in the increase as well?
So they're being permanent, so are they?
Yes.
They're town employees?
So
Would it be?
Sakhan Bajaj is the one full-time employee. And the other 2 that you mentioned, like one is not a 0.5, one is like a 0.25,
Okay.
and she's on a contract. And then the other one is a part-time employee without benefits. So I'm not sure with that one.
Yeah, I mean, council can decide to do that however they wish, but permanent is definitely like the standard.
Yeah, and no, my question is just, so when we look at page 7, when we totaled it up at 2%, the amount for employees, 18,225, that is inclusive of our whole organization, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, but not inclusive of contract, if it was the custodian or contract. Okay, so is that kind of clear? Okay, and so thank you for that. That clarified it for me. And I think so just more advice for clarification. So council's task is to look at what to provide for COLA. And does that work in conjunction with the salary grid? So once we approve COLA, we approve the salary grid at the same time?
COLA would get applied to the salary grid. Salary grid's already in effect. We would just apply COLA and then release the 2026 salary grid, correct? That's what you've done in the past?
You can bring the salary grid forward.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, it just gets updated. So if council does want to see that, though, we can bring that forward too.
Okay. And so here's where I'm going with this. This is a good discussion. I support the language. I'm thinking that we could even make something tentative. I would foresee this, as Molly explained, I would like to see it come back at the end of the meeting, just to see what we can afford. We'll go through the operational budget. We can earmark for budget purposes when it comes back to us in maybe December 16th or in February, or sorry, in January. We can always retro up, like, so we're not locked into, you must decide today, and it's whatever amount. It's just we want to earmark something so they can move forward working on the budget, do a tentative number, not necessarily make a motion, but have a work plan, and then come back and put it into motion. And if it is late January, say we go into budget discussions in January,
Like for
and
instance,
graduate. Sorry.
you refer to motion I made in 2021, we did it Inject Lake or mid-January too.
Okay.
So it was, that's what we struggled with too, is we need to know where our dollars were at back then too. It's an ongoing process, right?
Right.
So
How does,
Exactly what I was.
yeah, and thank you for that. How does that sound to everybody?
Yeah.
So we can enable administration to move forward with, and I think that's why, if I get ahead of myself, that's why the pages 47 and 49 don't balance, because we want to maybe plug in some extra numbers there, or, okay, so thank you for that. I do support the language. I so appreciate the presentation that was brought forward. I'm thinking with, here's where I'm going with this. I'm thinking, so we're at, we might even decide like, okay, so the difference is 2% or,
as you see, when I did it, I was a real cheap guy and I only gave 1.3%.
well, and
And
that was, it's not that you were cheap, that was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes,
So, yeah, we can just, like I said, we can flag it. Our interest, or not our interest rate, our inflation rate is at the end of October, 2.16. So maybe we're looking at 2.5.
so
That's just the dialogue I wanted to have.
I was sort of going conversation with other people and seeing where they're at, even dealing in private enterprises and stuff like that. And yeah, there is a variation. There is a lot of organizations or companies that didn't give any. It was on performance at year end. If they got bonuses, that was a different formula.
We don't have,
And then talked to the other ones, some of them gave 1%, some gave 1.5, and there wasn't actually very many that gave 2 or higher than that. And if you're looking at,
arm wrestle?
no, what I'm just saying is I think a fair number would be maybe the 1.5
Okay,
right now. And if you wanted to, instead of prolonging it, make the motion and move it forward and go from there.
okay, and thank you for that. I don't want to make the motion right now.
Okay,
I'd like
Then that's
to
fine.
work through the budget and at this, maybe the goal at the end of the meeting is to come back and we have two work plans in front of us, one at 1.5 and one at 2.5, and see what
Okay.
the difference is, okay?
all right, I'm gonna win.
No,
So if you wanted to go there.
so what I want the takeaway for council, it's not about winning.
No, there you go.
The takeaway from this is a very well prepared request for decision.
Yeah.
And what I see is the highlight here is that, guess what? We don't have a policy in place. So we're having this discussion and it will move forward to always have this discussion. So I would be prepared to make the motion that, but I will do it at the end, that a policy should come before us. And I'm hoping that when we go into budget talks, maybe for next year, that we have that policy to refer from. So then, again, we're creating some standards and we're moving forward and we're moving the organization. How does that sound? Sounds great. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to table this until after 4.6 to for a pending motion. That be okay? We'll work through the rest. We'll see what we can afford and if there's any opportunity for maybe going 3.5.
5%.
So on, and thank you again for that, administration. Thank you, Molly. No. 4.2, the municipal internship program. And it's prepared for us by our CAO, Fighton, and will be presented by Molly. The floor is yours. Thank you.
So the town is preparing an application under the 2025-26 Alberta Community Partnership program. There, we talk about an ACP grant quite often, and that's what that is. And it's through the municipal internship program is actually in conjunction with Alberta Municipal Affairs. And so what it does is it kind of lines us up with a student that is interested in municipal government work in different areas within the sector. So municipalities can apply to have this position in their organization. It does require that the municipality contributes some money financially towards that as well. And just given a breakdown here, our cost share, it would be for an 18-month placement, would be approximately 16,000 for 2026. And then into 2027, it would be approximately 20,000. ACP, if successful through the grant, would be they would be providing approximately 55,000. However, the grant, the final amount would be confirmed if we were successful with the grant. We have applied for this in the past and have had actual placements before. As part of the grant, we've had to put together a draft work plan, a training plan, kind of a supervision plan, and some of the things that we feel that would benefit the town and things that this individual would help us work on is more related to help modernizing our records, so making them digitized. They would assist with bylaw and policy updates. We have quite a number of policies and bylaws that need to be updated for content, but even just for regular formatting, etc., which is very time consuming. So, we're hoping this individual could help with that. They could help with land use planning activities, especially as we go into the regional economic development initiatives, hopefully through the grant as well. Emergency management, and they have the ability to kind of participate in everything we do as an organization. And a lot of these individuals can be well versed in different areas. It just depends on the applicant and the resume they put forward. So it helps in a nutshell. It supports municipal governance because it does help develop the future municipal professionals and leaders. It provides value to us administratively in terms of our capacity. It's a grant funded position, or partially at least. And I think there's a lot of things that we have ready as hit the ground running work. It helps advance some of our modernization projects, as I mentioned, help improve workflows, regional initiatives, and it puts a spotlight on the town and the community as a whole. So, we have a reputation of having a high quality internship. That's always the plan. Us being able to host that is something good that puts us on the map as well. So we've just provided some of the relevant motions that were made in the past for having an 8-month internship. Looks like we've had one in 2024 and 2023, based on the motions I see. We've just included those numbers again in the budgetary and financial impact section as well. So we would need council's support by way of motion to proceed with the full application and submission in order to be successful.
What,
Discussion, go ahead.
so, okay, we'd be putting a total of 55,000 for 2 years, right?
That's more estimated what the grant would fund. They would cut about 55,000.
We're not sure.
16.
Oh, 16 and 25 would be
16 and 20.
16,000 in
Right.
2026 and 20. Yeah, it's at the bottom.
Or
Page
20,000.
12, near the bottom,
Just because it's
16,000.
18 months, so it takes us into 27 as well.
So what,
36,000 is our.
that's what we're putting in. What's put in beside that?
The grant.
Approximately 55,000 from their side of things. So it ends up being, I suck at simple math sometimes, but just over around $85,000 in total for this position.
This be a full-time position or 8 months? Full-time,
18 months full-time.
18 months.
Yeah.
And so this, I know that in the summertime. Pat. Hi, Pat. Oh, I know that in the summertime,
I don't know how that happened.
is she sharing her screen?
Hmm.
She could be accidentally sharing her screen. Okay, so in the summertime, you guys have a summer student at the front answering phones and so forth, whatever else that their duties are. Would this person potentially save the town in having to hire a summer student, or is that something totally separate?
Yeah, I do envision that as totally separate. We did have a summer student. They were very busy and upfront, simply handling people coming to the front. The focus of this would be, we would get somebody that comes in that's wanting to train and already taking schooling in something related to municipal governance. So they would be very, I would say, a little bit more specialized to help us with more of the administrative work rather than the receptionist work. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to see if there's ways to like save other places to fund this, or if this is something totally worthwhile in your
Would
opinion.
this be tied into a university co-op program?
It's similar.
Similar, yeah.
Similar. Yeah.
Similar.
So, yeah, and I'd like to add to the discussion. So say, for example, when we were doing the organizational chart and the policy, that was the foundational work was done by the intern at the time. And the reason we had the two is one went on to, went back to school for advanced training. And then so we rehired another position to fill that with the grant requirements. So the value is there. I see the value in that. Molly, you kind of touched on something where you said that we have a lot of policies that need to be updated. And so are we in the middle? Are we halfway there? Are we, how many do we need, like all of them or 70% or?
Yeah, well, I first glance, when I look at the policies, they're not consistent. So we haven't really started that process. There's definitely updating, even if we don't get into the content. But we are slowly bringing policies to council kind of as needed. But I do have an original list. I know I shared that at the tail end of the last council. In terms of a process for kind of going through all the policies, it would take us significantly longer to do it with our current administrative resources. So I was hoping this person could help speed that up. But I would say 100% of our policies and bylaws should be reviewed and updated, but we do need to prioritize them so that we're doing the high priority ones first and letting the formatting and those things be addressed later.
So I have Nestor and then I have, go ahead.
I'm suggesting that we do a similar procrastinate with this like we did with the wages. Go through our budget and see where we're at for the dollars.
Okay, and I like that idea, thank you. I am concerned, a little bit of a concern. Okay, so Molly has a lot of work to do and she's doing a lot of work as our CAO. And there's a component, a huge component of training, and I don't know if that would fall onto your staff or having these programs ready. I don't know if I might be in a different spot. I might say this might be good for year 2 or year 3 of council. Not right now, because Molly is new to us and new to the organization. I don't want to yet put more on, and then if it's going to other staff, that could be a concern. I see the goal and the policies, yes, it could be helpful. I'm, again, maybe not sure, or we could leave it till the end. I'm not sure about the money though.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Marianne. I think it might add a lot of extra work too, because when you're training and somewhat babysitting.
Yeah.
It takes away your expensive time to work with somebody that's valued much less. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
I mean, if I take someone in my shop and I get an intern, I'll spend so much time training them. My production goes down to nothing. So I'll just be my introvert self and stay there by myself.
the question I have is this like a one-time grant? Because I do hear what the council's saying and how it might be a little bit of a distraction. I know that when I was asked to have a student teacher, it is a lot of work. It does eventually really help once you do that training, right? So I totally hear what you guys are saying. But if this is a one-time, my concern is that this is a one-time free $55,000, if we look at it like that from the government, or is there potential to do it next year with the same ACP grant?
Yeah, so there's a lot of streams underneath the ACP grant. Some of them you're limited to in terms of if you apply for one ACP grant, you can't apply for another one, but this is under a totally different stream. So we're okay. It doesn't impact us this year. We can apply next year. We can still apply for other ACP grants. It doesn't corner us either way.
Yeah. And if I may, just to add to that, there's some background where we had the grant and then we had difficulty having that person move to the community and have a place to live. And then there was some other difficulties so that then we ended up, previous council returned the money, didn't fulfill the grant requirements. So I think maybe just even a year just to kind of wait it out and move forward with it or bring it back to next budget. And maybe place mark the 18,000, or sorry, not 18,000, the 36,000 and over the 18 months. Because I see the value and especially for the policies, but we might be in a different situation in a year from now.
I also see us needing time to even go through our policies in order to have them ready for somebody to be editing and changing.
And then the other thing is, I just finished telling you how I think this would be such a good policy to have on COLA, so council needs to stop making policies, right? Let them catch up and stuff. Yeah, so if you'd like, we can defer it or table it till the end and make a decision, or if we're ready.
I think we should make a decision.
I think we can just make the motion.
Okay.
Just go.
I'm, would you be upset with that, or do you wanna wait? Cause you had brought it forward.
Make a motion.
Yeah.
Okay, are you okay with that? Everyone going around the room?
Yeah.
Are you okay with that, or?
Yeah.
Okay, Mario Kart.
I can make the motion.
Okay,
I can try. Can I try?
oh, sure,
Okay.
sure.
Council would like to make a motion to decline participation in the 2025-2026 ACP Municipal Internship Program and reassess next year. How does that sound? Any friendly amendments?
That sounded really good. I thought you were gonna table it to the end of the meeting, but sure,
No.
this is a motion, this is
I'm
good.
good.
Okay, you're okay with that? Okay, any more discussion? Anything admin would like to add, or Molly, or? Okay, calling the question, all in favor, the motion is carried, thank you, everyone. Okay, so we're moving on to 4.3 and 4.3 is the 2026 water capital replacement levy. Thank you, that was prepared for us by DA, or prepared by our assistant CAO, Crystal Bricks, and presented by Molly. Sorry.
We had put money from the rates for capital replacement. Is it still on the books?
Is that referring to the water tower?
No, what it is water that we buy.
Yeah.
So we put a markup on it
Right.
and then we sell it to our residents or clients or whatever. And we have a return. We make some money on it,
Right, yeah.
but
There's also costs involved too. Sure.
yeah, but that's worked into the price of the water already. This is just another charge, but we had in the past a capital amount of so many cents per cubic meter, and that was going into a capital amount. So I was just wondering, that was already worked into the price of the allotment of what we're charging per cube. So I'm just wondering, why are we asking for another 60 cents?
Should we hear the presentation?
No, it just comes back to numbers of what there was worked into the price prior to
Yeah.
why were we asking
Remember, I'd
for
like to
extra-
hear the presentation, just that.
Okay,
dive in a
sure,
little bit more.
go ahead. Sorry, I apologize, because I know the past history.
Yeah. I get that.
Okay. All right,
I didn't know, so I even brought my bill, just as a reference.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I'm pretty much just gonna read Crystal's work because she did a really good job on this report. So there's a concept that Crystal had mentioned at the last budget meeting where she talked about that intergenerational equity, meaning cost recovery applied to people who are currently using the system and who benefit from them and future users as well. So if you benefit from a project, you should pay for it. And it says here applied to the municipal infrastructure. Current users pay a portion of the cost through rates, levies, or debentures while they benefit from the improved service, while future users may also pay through ongoing rates or long-term financing, like debenture repayment, since they also benefit from the infrastructure. So this ensures fairness across generations. So today's residents do not bear the full cost of assets that serve communities for decades. And future residents also share in the funding of infrastructure that benefits them. Crystal provided some information on the debenture itself, which would start January 2026 and end in 2045. With the annual loan payment being $93,233.06. So we provided a chart here as well, and this is what was included in the last budget package with the preferable or recommended rate for being option 1, that's based on actual water usage, based on consumption. It encourages conservation, promotes fairness, helps utilities recover true costs providing the water. So that chart, financial chart's been included again. The recommendation would be that Town of Smoky Lake approves the water capital replacement levy at a rate of 60 cents per cubic meter based on actual water consumption. So that rate would be effective of January 1st and would end in 2045. We would also need to look at updating our master rates bylaw accordingly as well. So based on this decision today, we would bring that master rates bylaw back to the December 16th council meeting as well.
Discussion? Thank you for that. Thank you.
so, so this money is gonna go strictly into our debenture payment?
And yeah,
It's gonna be earmarked for it.
Will be earmarked to help with the cost recovery of the debenture.
so, okay, so I'm gonna speak and then we got you, Bruce. So if we did, so on page 16, the debenture payment is $93,233. But we're looking at collecting at 60 cents per cubic meter, then we'd only collect 59. So then we're out, say $30,000. Where would we get the extra $30,000?
Well, it would be included in the operating budget.
We are paying this already,
Yeah, but
so you don't know where the money's coming from for the $93,000?
no, we're gonna collect it on the bill as the levy, right? I'm just trying to do the math. So if we're only collecting a portion of the debenture payment, where's the other payment coming from, the 30,000? Okay, so did I say it wrong? Or-
No, let Crystal explain, where does our debenture payments come from? How about that?
From the operating budget.
There you go.
So the cost of water in my report coming up, the revenue versus the expense. There's a portion in there that we do make money on water at the end of the day. Right, so there's that portion too.
Right, and thank you for that. So you mentioned a report coming up in this agenda or?
Yeah, it's one of my reports in the operational budget under 4.5. But there is some revenue that comes in from the water itself.
Okay.
Would that revenue then go to, because I like this question, I also wondered about it, would that revenue go towards paying the rest of the debt?
Yeah, because it's all flowed in through the operating budget.
That money's, 93 is already coming off, so this would just be helping
To offset.
to offset.
So the higher,
I haven't, well, no, go ahead, but I haven't forgotten about you.
I'm good.
Who said you could? Okay,
so the higher users are gonna share, will create the higher impact of the bill payment. So.
based on usage,
Yes.
consumption.
So it's not like, there shouldn't be that huge of an impact to the residents.
Yeah.
That use the water, so.
So the higher users would,
So just make a quote, it was the taxpayers of the town that paid for all this line. They're paying the venture and
Mhm.
from down all the way up to Smitten, so.
okay, so I was gonna ask the question that I got you next, Tegan. So then is there any opportunity to increase the 0.6 meter cubed, or because it's tarped and regulated, you don't wanna do that?
No, these are just examples that Tamara had provided from other municipalities. So I mean, by all means, council could increase that 60 cents per cubic meter to,
Okay.
What are we paying now?
And where I'm,
we don't have a capital levy.
so where I'm going with this, on average, okay, and this is why I brought my bill, on average, what would an average household use? My bill is 6.0 meters cubed.
Per month.
6.
So-
6 cubic meters per month.
So if we increased it to 70 cents, it would be an extra $4.
I think 60 cents would be a fair amount in formula.
But can you answer that question? Because I'm curious too, what would our bills go up?
Yeah, what would an
Well, on
average
average.
user?
Right there, so if she's using
60
6
cents
cubic meters
times
per month,
six.
at 60 cents per cubic, it's $3.60.
Right,
Yeah.
so and if we went, okay, simple math, indulge me, please. If we went to
I'll be right,
70,
man.
$4.20,
if we went to 70 cents, it would go up $4.20 from 360 to 420, it's 80 cents more, right?
Mhm.
Why wouldn't we want to increase it to our end users and get it paid off so we're not taking the money out of our operating budget?
Yeah, what would the difference be if it was if it was
yeah, well, it should, that.
0.7?
At the same time, like,
And I don't know these, so I'm just learning. I'm learning just like you, and thank
Mhm,
you
me
for
too.
bringing
Good
that
question.
forward.
I think, irregardless, I think the taxpayer pays for it anyway. If we're shortfall on here, it comes out of their taxes, but yeah, I think the water system, then at least the water system to the high end users, they're gonna pay a little more as opposed to residential. That
Yeah,
household
that's a
paying a
good
little more.
point.
An average household is going to feel the impact, say $3.60, but $4, they could probably, $4.20, they could probably afford that.
Yeah,
I like my long showers.
that's okay. Then you'll pay for it.
You're not the average user then, okay?
Well, it's better in therapy.
So the thing,
with
lots of
cold
here.
water, then you're paying more, but you save.
Yeah, it's better in therapy.
So then after the, however many years, what was it, 2025 till 2049, what was it?
2045.
2045. So, okay, let's just say 20 years, 19 years. After that 19 years, then this levy just dissipates. We don't charge that
Nope.
additional 0.6 cents.
Look at it.
Will we just assess it at that time and see?
You can look at it and revisit it at the time and. Cause the whole idea of this is. Levies and anything that's you put addition on, not just relating to taxes, it still can be considered as a cost to the ratepayer, so it's a cost. So it can be considered still as a tax.
Okay,
Cause if you're gonna get this question asked to you and it says, why are you taxing us more money? Because you're charging more about utility costs, cause everybody's concerned about every single penny that's coming out of their pocket.
And you're right to
Yeah.
that,
I agree.
Go ahead.
but that's the services we're providing. as
That's right.
Right, so,
But then again, we mentioned, sorry, we were talking about this at the water commission today, about additional costs. You know, EPCOR or whoever's, we're dealing with supplying with water, we stabilize the rates of what they're charging. And they're charging a rate, the water commission's charging a rate, the town is charging a rate, the end user. Every time you flush your toilet, there you go.
Yeah, and I get it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with doing the levy at per cubic meter because that way the high users pay their share as opposed to every resident
Yeah.
cutting in at that share.
That's the only fair.
That's the fair way.
And you still have a very high, as compared to everybody else, our service charge, monthly service charge is the highest of the four here listed, so.
That was brought up at AB Munis, do you remember that? People were so upset about that and they were saying it was for ATCO and they were just talking about the service charges being so astronomical out in these rural communities and how it's unfair. And so AB Munis took that on.
And
That
that,
big blue building on the hill didn't come for free.
yeah, and that's the reality, you know, things are going up.
That's, you know,
Great.
Just like your power bill.
Great.
You pay $100 for the power
Sorry.
and then you pay another $200 just for your rate riders and everything else. So your bill's $300, but you only used $100 with the power.
Exactly.
So
Go ahead, Bruce.
One more thing to add to the water, if you compare it, if we go back to compare it to our old wells, that water was horrendous. I mean, a hot water tank didn't have a 10-year life cycle.
Everything was
And
orange.
like this water's good, it's always available. Our guys don't have to service wells, we don't have that potential of all this stuff.
yeah,
So there is a cost of the convenience. And from my perspective personally, I'm good with the convenience. And not, because eventually you'll pay it in hot water tanks or lines that are plugged solid with calcium or whatever. We're not gonna have that.
Having to buy
It's
the
so-
bottled water, the dispensers.
so past history.
Yeah.
That could have been fixed for $1 million bill when we reverse osmosis system
Oh, yeah.
installed, but that was another story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sulfates.
Yeah, and I remember that. There was, everything was orange and lots of iron and,
Yeah.
Okay, so
Tasty.
are we okay, tasty, are we okay with what is presented, or are we looking at increasing the
I would
cubic?
like to know how much, if it's only gonna be 50 cents more for me, the user, or $5, $6 more, whatever it is a month, $5 more, $4 more. I would be curious to know what the 0.7 cents, 70 cents per cubic meter would bring in to pay off the levy.
You get just one thing,
Yeah,
Mary Ann's a household of two.
yeah.
You got 4 kids. If
I
that
know.
50 cents, it'll be $10. If she's $3.20, you'll be $10.
Yeah.
So just, but it's not astronomical.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, like a difference of, $5 here or there.
You know what, I would encourage, if I may, and that's a good point, I would encourage you just, if you look at your bill, you'll see
I
how much.
have, yeah, because we have rentals that we pay too,
Okay.
so that's painful.
Yeah, and you're right, we're average, so
We're up
but-
my utilities, my
when we're talking about the debenture,
NAQs.
there's also the interest rate. I'd like to know what that, and did I miss it in the
Sorry, I didn't bring my bill.
presentation? Yeah, you
So
should
Bruce, do you
compare.
think that 0.6 is a good number? Your professional opinion, do you think 0.6 is a good number?
No, I don't know.
Where's
Yeah,
the
so this would be a good comparison.
Didn't catch exactly.
The old-
Michael and you and Michelle and me.
The debenture would come out of the shortfall, or say to take the 90,000 to the 50, the 30,000 would come from our operating budget every year, so we're offsetting that cost. And then every debenture has an interest rate, so that,
Yeah.
keep that in mind too. Yeah.
That's all in there.
Oh, it's
That's
okay,
the
okay,
90.
so it doesn't change, we're locked in at a certain amount every year, or? And sorry,
What would happen, where are we at? Yeah, if it's like 75 cents per. Because it'd be nice to get that thing to equalize itself. Or what number do we need to be at where, we're not subsidizing it?
Right,
Pricing
it's
ourselves.
the dollar that, right?
Dollar, no, it's too much.
wow. But the thing is, we know we're not getting any more money from the government in terms of operating funding in the LGFF, so, yeah, how can we afford this?
Cause I think
Okay, why can't we just do it gradually? With 60 cents.
We use-
So let's see where it's at now.
Good idea. I like that, Nestor.
8,
Reassess it every year.
newest bill.
Well, and then
Wow.
it won't be as big a pill,
Yes,
You
good.
guys, what I'm wrong.
but it delays things too.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so this is a good discussion. What are the options, or are we tasked to make a decision today? So is there something that council would like to have come back in terms of,
Well, what I'm saying is I'm not raising the mill rate. So if you wanted to do it to 60 cents, I think that would be fair and across
I
the board.
agree. I think
I'm
we're making decisions.
I got mine pulled up and I'm on 8. And I thought that we were a higher water consumer.
Oh, you're 8 cube?
Yeah. So,
Mine was 14 last month.
No,
I have 4 to my bathroom every day. But anyways, I really like your suggestion.
but you know what? Like, why should we flog this and flog it, flog it?
I know, let's just decide.
It's
Just rip
only
the-
60 cents
Yes.
for, carry it.
okay, you
Agreed.
The motion?
so you don't want to have it any higher? We're done discussing it? Okay.
Well, you know,
60.
let's get this council a little more efficient, keep going.
Okay.
Rather than coming back and revisiting.
Yeah, discussion is so good, but it's
Yes.
a good idea.
I will make the motion, wherever it is, I will make the motion.
At the top of the page.
I know, Bruce, you'd rather me make it, I'll get the.
You know what, I really, Crystal's gonna say one thing before the motion. I really do appreciate the discussion, but I appreciate you teaching me. I learned a lot.
Me too.
Thank you. Go ahead, Crystal, you're up.
We can bring back reports just to see where we're at and reevaluate, like, right, stuff.
Throughout the year, you mean, like we can make the motion now and then bring back
And we
as
can
it goes.
reevaluate, throughout the year, we can, next budget meeting or season, you know, we can.
Yes. Can you include that in the motion that we would readdress this every year?
Yes.
My rationale behind this was it's easier as a new council to do the hard things in the first year than to say, maybe you're going on in a political period and you don't want to do it year 4, right?
Yeah.
So,
So I take it you're running again and if you are.
no, I'm retiring. I might not even make it.
You're-
You go ahead, that's another meeting. Okay, so you wanted to make the motion,
Yes.
Nestor, you go ahead.
Recommendation that the town of Smoke Lake approve the water capital replacement levy at a rate of 60 cents per cubic meter based on actual water consumption to encourage conservation, promote fairness, and recover the costs associated with the new water reservoir debenture. With the rate effective January 1 of 2026 and ending in 2045.
Do we have friendly amendment? Do we have to change that ending because we're gonna reassess it every year?
Yeah, but we might not want to put an end date in there.
Yeah, effective January 1st and to be
Except
reassessed
for-
yearly.
Leave it as January 1st, right? And then leave it open.
What do you think, administration?
I was just thinking that works as if it's flagged for an annual discussion. Like I wouldn't revisit it partway through the year. I would do it at the time of budget. Cause your master rates bylaw will need to be adjusted you typically will do that for January of each year. If you are adjusting it. So I would put in the motion, review on an annual basis.
Well, let's review it annually. because-
Yeah,
Yep.
and then you can take out that timeframe, just
Yeah.
something to make sure it is coming back. Otherwise, it's gonna be left indefinitely and you don't wanna go
Yeah.
really beyond
Right.
the intended.
2025.
I think that 2025 was to be able to do the math on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So if we just do it annually.
Yeah,
we're
because
good.
however many years down the
Yeah.
road, you don't want it to continue.
Yes.
Before we do a friendly amendment, and I think the 40 or 2045 was to do a Schedule A, because normally with debentures, we do a payment schedule or no? So that's in the,
So all adjusted to January 1 of 2026 to be reviewed annually.
You got her.
That works.
So can we do discussion?
yeah, for sure.
See, like, we were just at the meeting today, the water commission meeting, and they're doing their best to hold the rates steady.
Oh, good.
Am I right?
Yep.
So, I mean, we may see annual increases, but not fluctuations month to month, up
Yeah.
and down.
Yeah.
So That's
And
is
we
their
don't know
objective
about
and they've been pretty successful in the last few years, so they're pretty proud of what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Anyways. I asked a few meetings ago on. There was monies put away for this reservoir. Reserves. Did you guys find any paperwork on it, or did it mysteriously disappear?
Disappeared from them.
Crystal did do some digging for us.
Well, the short amount of time that I had to look, I did look through previous motions because reserves have to be approved by council, so there'd be a motion attached to put into reserves and to take out of reserves. So we do have a inventory of motions from 2010. So I did this week look through the motions, and there's a lot of motions with in and outs, but nothing that pertains to the reservoir specifically.
I talked to ex-counselor and he
It is.
remembers putting,
If it's
there was a mission.
before 2010, like we would have to, that's a big,
That's 15 years ago.
that's some research behind that, so.
But and it probably would have been within that time frame that Crystal's looked where you were referring to. I think we're thinking 2016, 15. If money is ever moved as well, if money is ever moved from restricted to unrestricted, there would also need to be a
Always
motion as well.
Always.
So,
Yeah.
If I could add to that, wouldn't it be somewhere on the audited financial statements with a report?
It just brings question on what the heck happened in the town, because this will be brought up by probably be haunting from other ex-counselors saying what has happened too.
Yeah.
So-
Well, yeah, that'd be a great question for them as well.
Well,
I can't speak to that.
okay, so if you're, go ahead, Chris.
So annually, the auditor will ask for the motions, any reserve motions. And then they will do their report, and it's, like Mary Ann said, it's in the financial statements. My plan, when I do have a minute, to go back and look at the financial statements, look at the differences, find those motions to pertain to it. And everything should,
So you look at the audited ones
Right.
to find the trick.
So
Yeah.
far you can't find it.
You know, it's a
I
good thing.
She was going through the minutes.
It's overrated.
She was going through minutes though of the.
Yeah, I looked at the motion reserves,
So,
or the motions to see the reserve. To put aside for the reservoir, like. Cause I'm curious to see where the money came from to put into reserves, and if there was motions, and like we do have lots of reserves. Still, it's not like,
And it's going into the past, you remember some of the comments saying funded or unfunded reserves. Yeah, and that,
there's a lot of motions.
so maybe for tracking purposes and taking, it's a dedicated amount of time. Would you prefer a motion at some point to come back in the future, or how would you?
Yeah, and then, well,
So would that be something that we should consider doing? And then it gives direction to administration.
Yeah, I mean, sure, I think that,
it's not gonna change it.
I
But
just
I'm
wonder
just
what
saying-
the intent is, like if we.
Where
do-
did the money go?
Yeah, and I think we're only gonna either have it in front of us that it was motion made or allocated or it wasn't. And I just wonder what we'll do with the information if we see that it's
I wanna
not,
know who moved the money.
okay.
No, and where it ended, like, what did it cover? If it did cover anything.
The question is, money was allocated, then all of a sudden, when the project came, all the money had to been borrowed. So why wouldn't you think somebody would ask a question when you were being diligent at the time, trying to manage things, to put things away for a rainy day, and then all of a sudden you find out what has happened? So, like, I'm not here to create a riff or anything like that, this is a straight, honest question.
Okay.
Cause I know I was there, the money was supposed to be there,
So that-
portion of it at least.
Okay.
So I'm not, that kind of stuff really frustrates. I get a little upset about it.
Okay, so would you, here's what I'd like to do, or I'd like to say, would you like to make a motion? Then it's on the books,
Sure,
at some point it can come back to the future, we're dedicating some time, and what I learned from Counselor Scarf yesterday is when we say yes to something, we say no to something else, or we say no to something, and then,
Okay.
so,
I'll make a motion.
go ahead.
Administration look into what happened to the allocated reserves for the water reservoir, in last council's, motions? Is that a proper way to do it?
Sorry to interrupt, but Nestor's motion was on the table.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, thank you, Carly, I just noticed.
Sorry, Carly.
Okay, that, you're right, you asked for the
Okay.
discussion, okay.
Okay,
So, going back to good governance, we're going to, thank you again, Carly, we are going to, any more discussion on Nestor's motion, and I think there might be a subsequent motion.
No.
So motion, Nestor has the motion on page 15, as it stands, and we're gonna have the end date included, but to be brought back annually. We okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. Any more discussion on the motion? Calling the question, all in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. And so,
Just from the phone. You are a young guy, but you're still a veteran. Well, thank you for, bringing stuff like this up for attention. It's little stuff like this. If we can find some of that or arrest it, we're doing good business.
we're,
just wait till I explain to you the funding formula of how the
But
water lines went in.
let's keep,
it's seldom that I can.
it's a budget meeting, so I want to hear on time, on budget, okay?
Dan's
Are you
making
making
a
a
motion.
motion?
Let's go.
On time, on budget?
Yeah. We,
Carly, did you get that last motion?
No, that's not what we're doing here. Frame it. Counselor
Okay.
Kulak moves to direct
She's
Yeah,
administration.
just direct administration to look into,
Cinderella.
to research if there was any allocated reserves for the new reservoir.
A good way of putting it.
Okay, are we okay with that motion, Carly and admin? And I would like if you would consider a friendly amendment to bring back to a future 2027, 2026 motion, meeting of council.
Sure.
So Counselor Kodlak accepts the friendly amendment to bring back to a future 2026 meeting. Any more discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you again. And thank you for the preparation and the great discussion on 4.3. We are now moving on to 4.4. This is the Smoky Lake Public Library 2026 budget. It's quite routine that this comes before us annually when we do the budget discussions. And thank you for preparing that for us and submitting it on behalf of the library. Thank you, Carly, for that. I don't think it requires any further information or background or reading through everything because we've had time to prep. So we're going clockwise or counterclockwise? Councilor Trent, how do you feel about making the motion on page 18?
Yeah, I can. That the town of Smoky Lake acknowledge receipt of the Smoky Lake Public Library's approved 2026 operating budget and approve the town of Smoky Lake's annual contribution to the Smoky Lake Public Library under the local appropriation cash transfer from your municipality for operations in the amount of 31,500 and be funded from the 2026 operating budget entitled Library Town Subsidy.
Thank you for that. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
I just wanted to make one comment that I'm on the library board and their budget is tight, but they get a lot done with it and they're not asking any more than they did last year.
Actually, you should bring in this up, if you're,
Yeah,
Sorry.
and so I met with Louise just to discuss it and ask any questions that I had. And yeah, she just really affirmed what they do with their budget, how much they do. they've got really great partnerships within the town to help them facilitate all the programs that they run, and I think they do a really great job with the subsidized amount.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. I encourage all of council. I myself am a frequent flyer at the library and so appreciate the resources. And Lise, the manager, she's very accommodating. If she doesn't have it, she's friendly to order it in and serve our community. So,
Just carry on. I'll have a comment just after this.
okay, we're gonna call the question then. Okay, or unless you're
No,
gonna,
that's a
okay,
motion and I'm just.
the motion, we're voting on the motion at this time. All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Rosachuk.
Well, I can remember when I was a kid, you go to the library. Now I'm no longer a kid, I'm a senior and the library is still in operation. And you know, it's.
Thank you.
neat.
Thank you for that.
Your grandkids go there now.
Yeah.
Stephanie takes them all the time, yeah.
If that's the example, I think we shouldn't fund a library.
You're gonna be in trouble with me.
Okay, everybody back.
Yes.
Some humor, but thank you. Okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, no, this is,
This is a tough love.
let's give her for another half hour and for sure.
Yeah, on time, on budget. Here we go. And thank you for all of that. We're now on 4.5, the draft operating budget for 2026. So let's keep in mind, previous council did their budget talks in April of 2025. And then it was left for administration. So what we see before us is not any real influence of previous council. It's prepared by administration based on some of the ongoing work, the things that are mandatory, and then what we have to do to be operational. So who would like to open up the discussion? Go ahead.
Yeah, I can open it up, and I know we have viewers online and being recorded for public session, and I think it's important that we just give the public a bit of a briefing on the background, this current budget and kind of what it represents. And I know that there were the other previous preliminary conversations, a lot of them were in closed session according to legislation that we applied at the time. And so, and just to repeat again, that council did have a financial orientation session. So it was all part of that workshop and some of those preliminary conversations. So we've made minimal changes, I will say, in terms of revisions based on what was shared as part of those preliminary conversations and what's in front of us today. And then as part of the recommendations, there are a couple of items that will just need to be addressed from the previous portion of tonight's meeting as well. So we'll come back to that later. So just to provide some background information, this budget is this draft budget is being viewed as what we call a transitionary budget. Other people refer to it as an interim budget. Some people even call it a bridging budget. So that means that it's a budget that takes us from council's current service levels, i.e. what do we currently do to keep the lights on and currently serve the public, launching us towards a point in time where this new council can now set the strategic priorities of what this group wants to work on going forward. And based on some of those conversations and some of the requisitions that come down through the province and our assessment information, then we can finalize a full approved budget closer to this spring. So that's just repeating some of the process on that. So ideally, we would look at starting that strategic planning session sometime in January. Under the MGA, this council must adopt this interim budget by December 31st. So we would look at bringing back a full budget likely for approval in March or April. So the final operating and capital budgets should be aligned with council's long-term vision, service level expectations and strategic priorities as mentioned, which will emerge as this council gets, orientated and in their seats and working on what they want to do for the community. So at this time, it is just a draft budget with a status quo mindset. Looking at not really doing anything major for programs or service level changes at this point until we've had more of those conversations to figure out what that should look like. I won't get into some of the background information is just repeated from the first session as more orientation, council's role versus administration's role, so governance versus operations in this process. I will jump over that, but again, it's there for background information for council and or the public. So underneath key considerations, as I mentioned, we talk about strategic planning, hopefully sometime in January. That's a conversation we need to have with council. That is something that council will set. And there should be, it's recommended to have some either formal and or informal public input in the budget session at some point. That is maybe something, again, council might want to look at somewhere down in the new year before we look at full approved budgets. However, while that's not mandatory, it is up to this council to decide what and how that looks. So we went through some of this information just in terms of operational numbers and variances already. This full package that's in front of council is already part of the public package online through the regular agenda. So full transparency on the numbers that are being looked at, and Crystal has done a fantastic job in presenting what that 2026 draft budget could look like and some of those variances that have been highlighted as well. I'm not going to bore anybody with the legislation on all of these sections, but you can see under the MGA, there's like 6 different sections that guide how we approach the budget and some of the timeframes behind it. If council has any questions on that, happy to answer that. We've provided a little bit of information in terms of what a communication strategy could look like as well. As part of the budget package, I did ask Crystal to include something that she had put together with past council for the 2025 budget. It's it's a final document, but I'm deeming it a draft document. It wasn't released publicly, but I think it's a great document to use as a starting point to update it based on what 2026 could look like. And if it's just here for council's reference, if it's something we want to work on, it takes a lot of work, to update that. So it's something we can work on coming out of these conversations if council wants to use that as a tool. Other than that, I think, what are some things we can highlight?
So, if I may.
Yeah.
So we're looking in the agenda, we're on page starting with 23 and it ranges right to 114. And so when we keep this in mind, the motions or the motions are on page 23. So we might have to go back to COLA before we can make these motions. So just sort of for basic understanding, we've spoken about in the past couple of meetings, we've spoken about service levels. And so there's no real clear place to say, okay, well, what are our existing service levels? So keeping in mind recycled, new, returning, maybe a vast majority. So an example of the service level is clearing the snow, mowing the lawn, the frequency and what we can change. So this is where we would do it. Are we increasing? Do we know if residents are happy with their current service levels? We went campaigning door to door. They might have told you some things. There might be areas of focus that you feel fondly of. So those are thoughts to keep in mind at this time. And if you're not sure where we are in terms of service level, we would go to admin or the master use bylaw, or where would we find that information?
Yeah, so a lot of our service levels are defined by policy. And I know it's not exactly detailed, but it provides some high level guidance on what we do. But also I wanted to mention too, Crystal's provided a really good document in terms of the 2026 council briefing note. I think that can help.
What page is that?
My page says page 5 of 91.
Online, yeah. Okay, 5. Briefing note, yeah, it's 6 for us, yeah.
And what this council currently is, I guess, at this point working off of is last council's strategic plan, right? So the strategic plan was put together in 2022 and it was meant to take us into 2025, which we're still in. So a lot of the, I guess, service levels are encompassed in all of these strategic priorities that you see as part of the 22 strategic plan. And again, council can decide how they wanna move forward? Do they wanna, keep this? Do they wanna modify it? Do they wanna make it completely new? That is up to council, but I think a lot of the basic service levels for a basic understanding would be captured underneath this document. Cause it kind of breaks it down in terms of what the strategic priority is and some additional information as to what could potentially affect the budget related to that. So,
And so Molly, thank you for that. You're referencing page 5 and 6 of 91 or page 28 and 29 of 114, is that correct?
6 and 7 of 91.
I have it starting on page 5 of 91.
Yeah,
And then
so
it
we're
goes
looking at
down.
this graph from this.
Yeah, so for me, it's page 6. I don't know why.
Goes,
Online is different.
Yeah, I'm lying
Yeah.
or something. And then page 6.
quite a few pages.
7. Yeah. Okay, I know
So
what you're talking about.
I guess we know it'll start with the strategic plan labeled 2022. So,
onward, and then
Thank you for that.
I think it gives a little bit more information as well. If you take that, I think it is organized in a good manner because I think you could continue down in your package where Crystal provided the financial reports of budget by object. So you can kind of get a feel for underneath individual GLs. It's GL meaning where money's coming out of
Yeah,
or going
yeah.
into, right? I'm not sure how familiar everybody is with
So that's
budgets,
great.
but the 2026 numbers are on the far left column. And then you can see there's no variance on this page, but
So Crystal, so things that I highlighted when I was looking through this were obviously things that are relevant to me right now. And I just noticed under pest control, this is just one, I don't know if this is where we are in the discussion, but how do I reference, so like pest control in this on page 8 or 7 for you out of 92 says that it would be decreased by half in the budget. Then how do I go down to the actual budget and see where that is within the actual? Just kind of navigate.
I know it's all over the place here. In the budget by object, report that Molly is referring to,
Yeah.
for me, it's on page 13. It's 5 from the bottom. Pest control, we normally budget $10,000 a year, and that was one of the strategies we had to be more efficient in cost savings. So rather than hiring a contractor who comes a certain time, right, to take care of the pests, we had an internal employee do the course. So we can do it in-house, we can start early, we can do it longer, and it actually cut our saving, like our cost in half.
To 5,000. 5,000 now?
Yeah.
I can't find it still.
Okay,
Okay,
all these numbers are
Sorry.
great in front of us, but you know, what's nice to know is exactly how much money we have right now.
So can we bookmark that and we'll come back to it? Okay. Or would you like an answer? Can you provide the answer right now?
Yeah, so the budget, the 2025 budget is on here too, as well as the actual as of November 30th. So we're still going to be
Yeah.
receiving invoices coming in December and January for 2025. But right now, it looks like a surplus of 700,000.
Okay,
But-
page down,
So
That is on my page 14 of
Okay.
91.
And that's not with reserves,
so
or that is.
I would like to ask about that surplus. So are our projections on par for the surplus? So we're gonna be about 700,000.
That's only as of November 30th, but we have a lot of big bills coming in. The requisitions are coming in at the end of December, like the fourth quarter. So there will be a lot more bills coming out.
Okay.
So it's really hard.
Standing from the 2005.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as of November 30th, that's kind of where we're at right now.
So, and thank you for that. So would you say that, yeah, on time on it. Would you say that $590,000 is from the MCC?
Is that how much that was given back?
Well, I don't know. I'm asking the question.
That's a great question. I would like to know what the number is.
I'll
And
get
the
back
what?
to you on that.
I thought it was less than that, but that's just talk.
So
Since I'm here, I would know the
You-
exact,
Question.
excuse me. I would like to know exact number of what was returned.
What happened?
So,
Maybe Marianne explained
Well,
what
no,
happened
no,
there.
okay, so I'm just gonna, let's get us organized. My question is, okay, so we have a surplus, we're anticipating a surplus of $700,000. And I said, are those projections quite accurate? Because last meeting we had, I asked the same question, are we in a surplus or a deficit? We're in a surplus. So now we're coming to we're 90% done of our year. There's some bills coming in, we have to do year end. Is that surplus as a result of the money that was given back from a previous project called the MCC? Or,
Oh, okay.
so it's not?
It's not in what you're looking at today, no.
Okay.
So that MCC is separate.
Yeah, it's not in the operating here, in the revenue, that was a receivable,
Okay,
so that's not,
so then can you speak to, was it land sales or how did we get that's a large surplus, like how did we get that?
yeah, we're at 80% of our expenses. The only thing that is in here that I need to do an adjustment is the doctor house. That was purchased from town. That has to come out. I haven't had a chance to do that adjustment. So that is included in our revenue right now. But other than that, it's,
We collected all the taxes,
yeah.
you had a good
taxes.
year, we're in surplus. So, and I had assumed it, and my mistake, I had assumed it was the $590 from the MCC project. And so I'm wrong. So about 300,000 might be the doctor's house or
Less, yeah.
a little less.
Yeah.
And so then we'd be projecting maybe 400,000, but less year end, maybe 250 or.
It's hard to say right now.
And at some point coming up, it's hard to say, but council will be asked to make a motion as to what to do with the surplus and put it in a reserve or. Okay? Is that?
The auditor will be coming out April. We're currently doing an interim audit right now. So April, he will be coming here and then we will do our meeting with council and he'll go over the financial statement for 2025. Yeah.
So would you like to open the floor at this time for questions or is there more of the presentation or?
You know what, it really is dependent upon what council wants to go through in terms of details. Other than that, like, there's nothing new that we've added in, from what was shared last time, so. Yeah, I think, starting on page 15 of 91 for myself online, it gives a really nice overview, of what's been, proposed for 2026 in terms of any real additions or changes, I should say. And I think there was a few things noted that administration is aware of that we need to ensure we are including, and what we were hearing was some contracted service money for snow removal. We would need to include some money at some point for a bit of an asset management or infrastructure inventory update, which I'll have more information following Friday.
So, yeah. Sorry, I shouldn't interrupt you.
Well, that's okay. I was just saying we would have to include that as at some point in the operational budget. And do we want some contracted money for any kind of back alley repairs or not? I guess that's a question for council as well. I think those are just kind of the three main things. And then we have earmarked some money in here, 10,000 for strategic planning for 2026.
So everyone knows we're on these pages here with the little grid. And if I could ask on my notes, when it says recreation, I'm on page 39 of 114 or 16 of 101. We made a commitment, previous council, to the pickleball people. And I would like to see some money, even if it's $1,000. Whatever the needs are, they are in desperate need of a new net. And the line painting, it was maybe previously scheduled for fall, but things, fall didn't look so good with the weather. So they had a net there, it was stolen. Public Works kindly replaced it with a faulty net that has holes in it. So they're a very active group and we need to earmark $1,000 for them if we can.
That's a startup group, which is fine. But it'd be nice if they would be able to, gain some funds through their hard work. somehow, we'd help them. But at the
Yeah.
same time, you know, they can't be destitute.
And so Rochelle with FCSS is actively looking for a grant and that's captured on page 39, that there was a motion that the town would help them out and look at,
As long as they're helping themselves,
Oh,
you know, like it's,
So can I
they're
ask,
not helping themselves.
so the rumor floating around town was that there was some kind of rejuvenation plan for the old tennis court, is that accurate?
go ahead.
So we did apply for one grant and that was a $50,000 grant and that would be to rejuvenate the tennis court. And it was a part of the plan for the pickleball crew, but it would still, like, they were still planning to maintain the skate park as well. So not to eliminate the skate park that's in there, but it was to resurface in the tennis court. What happened with that is that there's 2 phases of that project. So the top part, we got a quote, it was 50,000 and we applied for a grant that was 50,000. But then they need to do like the underlay or whatever you call that underneath it, and that's like another 150,000. And so we need to find another grant to compensate for that second component. So we kind of have the first phase done, but as we come into January, we need to find funding for that second component.
So the phase, you said the first phase is done, it's applied.
I mean, applied.
But it has to be done.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant
Okay.
secure. No, none of the work has been done.
And so just, so to recap, and thank you for that, Michelle. So to recap, the pickleball people came as a delegation, expressed a need. It's very active. They need more courts. And so then the town committed to looking at exploring possibilities through grant options and then to help encourage more development in the pickleball area. And John wanted to speak on behalf of that too.
Just provide some more information regarding that specifically. So there's asphalt underneath this sports surfacing. And they would require 2 different types of asphalt laid underneath. And then the sports surface would be installed on top, as well as the line painting and everything else.
Um,
And this is the old tennis court.
yeah. And so what we heard, and definitely from my conversation with Kathy, is a net would be about $500. So I think it's a good idea to look at buying whatever we can, maybe up to $1,200 if we can afford it, and contribute that way just to help them. Maybe a one-time funding, it wouldn't be an ongoing item in the budget. So if that's okay with all of council. Any, Molly, is there any other requirements of that?
For pickleball?
Yeah, or
I went out there and, you know, I know that there were some concerns expressed with the fence. I think overall it's in good shape, but again, I'm not a pickleball player. I think there's some improvements we could make there, but nothing significant at this time. But I think we're on the right track in terms of kind of those longer term bigger plans. I think that would be yeah, I think we're on track for that.
I think we could maybe have our June meeting at the pickleball court and I'll play after. How's that? So
I'd be solid
what
towards that.
I'd like to go, I'd like to go on to on that same page. We have the community enhancement budget, and forgive me, I don't recall what that is, and it's earmarked 26,000 less 16 for 10. I just don't recall that. What was go ahead, Crystal.
So that's the flower power / community enhancement budget for flowers in the summertime. Council allocated $10,000 in there for 2025 for the cedar trees along Beaver Creek Co-op Lane.
Yeah.
And that's been completed. The cedars are in.
That's that item we talked about. We did come in about $4,000 less than budget, but you know, we went as kind of far as we thought we should go with the trees for this season, and whether or not council wants to entertain any additional planting based on public complaints or not, that's that other conversation piece that we should have. But
And thank you for
that's
that.
complete in terms of what we were set out to do.
Okay, so that,
When-
done deal.
Yeah.
No,
No,
like, it's-
not
Well,
really,
through the
because
current budget.
if it's gonna, when would that be coming back to us? The initial plant was in under budget at $6,000.
Oh.
And then we're having a subsequent conversation based on some of the community members recognizing other needs.
That was kind of outlined in the capital budget discussions and the question we administration posed to council is, do we think that it is the town's responsibility or should we be the ones taking care of either whether it's a extension of the fence or additional tree planting,
That's on
commercial?
public property or private property?
That's, John, want to answer specifically?
And John, if I may, you're most welcome always to feel part of the family. You can
Yeah,
come to the
like, you know,
table.
it's easier to hear you when
Nestor
you're.
has the hearing
table
aid, so
rather
you'll see
than-
him adjusting his phone, just your volume.
I just don't want to give inaccurate information, so John was the one planting on the ground.
100 trees were installed this year.
You have to speak up, please.
100 trees were installed in the alley adjacent to the commercial property that was developed. There's been some interest expressed in that those trees continuing all the way up the alleyway. Adjacent to that, to where those trees would be installed is empty vacant commercial lot that's owned by the town.
But that is, like, it's not private property, it's not owned by a private entity, it's owned by the town.
It's owned by the town, zoned
It's
commercial.
for sale.
So,
Potentially.
I wouldn't be doing anything until
yeah.
whoever buys it, let them develop as required, like, what, and the trees that we put along the co-op fence, that's on co-op's land, or is it on town land?
Required, or go ahead, John.
That's on town land, so the town agreed to install the trees and the developer funded for the fence installation on their property.
Okay,
Right, so we're watering it most
so
of
who's gonna maintain that? The town then?
That would be.
We are,
Mhm,
damn,
So
yeah.
So that was part of the agreement when we had the
You know what?
community sessions that.
it
Looks
will
good.
look, it will look nice, it will look nice.
Yeah,
So-
But, you know, at our cost, and I hate that, but no, I'm just joking, but I mean, would have been nice if we would put them in and say, okay, now, please water and cut grass. There.
there won't even be no grass in that co-op thing, probably, it'll be all gravel.
But it's on the other side of the fence.
I know, it's on the other side of the fence. But yeah, I wouldn't, personally myself, I wouldn't continue with the trees because who knows who eventually buys that and what they do with it. Then we'll end up having to take out the trees for some reason.
Yeah, like,
So I think
just
just,
spend 5,000 on trees and they'll be gone in 2 years
Yeah.
because this guy's pulling them up.
Yeah, and so part of the discussion was, so the trees are now north and south with the fence. Would there be any activity east and west?
Now, just as an
Go ahead.
we're on topic, there is the alleyway. That's against that co-op fence and that. Some of the homeowners there were saying that we have vehicles in the alley going at higher rates than speed than 50 and bringing up lots of dust. So, you know, they're asking either for asphalt or speed reduction, and I would certainly entertain, number one is a speed reduction. Like, how about 30-kilometer sign, you know, maybe they'll slow down to 50, you know, or asking for dust control, which dust control wouldn't be bad, but it's costly, so we gotta address it, at least start to address it.
Okay,
in the
so,
spring.
and thank you for that. I have Dan and then I'll go myself, or were you wanting to?
We practiced dust control with calcium chips and all that. It does work and all that.
Oh, yeah.
And you can put all the signs you want there. Who's gonna,
Enforce it.
SBs, speed bumps.
especially if we maintain the back alleys. Yeah, we make it, yeah.
We don't maintain them?
Not
Maybe
cool.
we'll see. Here's that's problem.
It's it's seasonal, so every year is different. The resident phones in and then they go out and they do dust control. So that's what
Right.
has happened in the past.
But I think I think Public Works has to pick up the beam and apply a little bit more. And
It's,
water them down. I think it's a ongoing process. It has to be done. Once you leave away from it, once you start dealing with this the really fine dust, your clays that always start making all the dust, that's
You know what, we're
it's
wasting
a
time.
process.
but do we want to look at speed bumps or is that coming
No,
back or?
no speed
But
bumps.
you know what, I would even suggest like a low quality vegetable oil, like a reject vegetable oil rather than
Those calcium chips work, well, do you put them past my shop?
Operational?
Okay,
Okay,
we have
John was
break
up,
in
John was up.
one.
Sorry, John was up. Yeah, he wanted to add to that.
Oh, okay.
We use magnesium chloride for our dust control, and that particular alley we do twice a year. So we apply the chips and then we wet down the surface and level it, and it's not a permanent solution. There is other options such as asphalt millings can be applied, which do create less dust. I'm in the process of trying to obtain as much as I can from the highway construction, which unfortunately won't be taking place next year, likely the year after. But if the town is able to source that they want to get rid of it, right? So
Yeah.
No, you gotta be.
we can take it and we can apply it to certain areas, back alleys that will be basically a free option for us.
So, okay, and thank you for that, John. So do we feel that on that same line where we had a higher amount for 2025 because we did the trees and now we're budgeting it for 2026, that line item will have $10,000 and that's for our communities in bloom. We do some of the decorating contests during the year for Pumpkin Fair and that money comes out of there. Is there any extra funds left over that we could look at something to enhance the four-way stop or the Moon's Corner, the triangle there with seed drill? Or is there any appetite of council to lower the amount and do nothing or?
Why don't, for this year, why don't we just look at some proposals? You know what I mean? And get an idea of what it could cost.
A landscaping project or?
Yeah.
Can that be flagged by admin and that can come back at a later date to council?
Yeah, I think it kind of ties into those NRED grants I was exploring, and it is kind of community rejuvenation enhancement. I think that would be, we could look at doing something part of that.
So it's on your radar, thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go on to, I have a standard script that I'm looking at. I always ask this at every budget meeting, sorry. So as administration, they're happy with the amounts and, not happy, but we're where we need to be. We had an election this year, so it cost a little bit more. The budget didn't go down because prices are going up or, you know the second part to this question. Is there an opportunity to trim by a certain percentage?
So I think what Crystal's presented here is kind of based on a 2% inflation increase. And again, just reflective of what we currently do now. So I will turn it over to you, Crystal, if you have anything further.
So I do go in and look at the actuals to compare to our budget, see where we're kind of off, and I do adjust those as we go. Like at budget time, I do adjust certain things like the snow removal contractor. We haven't had to really utilize that in a while because we have our staff, we have equipment. So I did take that out, but it sounds like I could have probably put that in. But
Not
yeah.
yet in here.
Like we always look for efficiencies, no matter what we do, and it's always review. Yeah.
And just,
Things do go up annually.
oh, for sure, and the province,
WCB, we got, so We really try to work out the numbers and definitely.
Yeah, Crystal,
efficiencies.
I will say Crystal's really presented what is called a base budget. And it's based on actuals from the previous year to forecast next year, which is probably about as good as process as we can get when it comes to keeping costs down. But again, depending on what the service levels do in the future, our strategic priorities council might change.
And that's fair. Tegan, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to come back to speaking about that pest control, how you've lowered it. The reason this is top of mind is because I've been approached by the school trustee as well as a community member at large, Stephanie Rossachuk, who works with the soccer association, and that field by the old school is a disaster. It does not belong to us, it belongs to Aspen View. However, I'm concerned about it coming back and we not having the funds allocated in case we do. If Aspen View is not going to do anything, we're either not going to have a soccer program in this town because that field is. I had a team of 10 last year who walked that field hand in hand, counting the amount of gopher holes, and there was probably, I want to say, they counted over 200 gopher holes in that field. It is a huge concern. I don't think it'll come back to bite us because we won't own it, and even after the land transfer, we don't own it. But I know that last year money was used, after talking to Ashley, money was used, our product Rocan was used at about $850 of our product with a $10,000 budget was used on that field alone. And that's a concern to me that if we do end up having to do something because the school's doing nothing, we don't have the allotted money for it.
Yeah.
So we can.
Yeah, so what municipalities can do is a cost recovery chargeback. So it is something especially if it's not our land, I'm just talking in general, we could look at implementing that where we then recover the cost based on the services we've provided. That is what,
Open to it, yes.
yeah, like, and in my previous municipality, I had to look after pest control as well, and that's what we did for schools and our hospitals, and that's kind of standard practice, so I think what we have in here is sufficient,
Okay.
and anything additional can be recovered through that kind of process. Yeah, but it flags another question I had, just kind of coming from that field as well. I think that there's some collaboration opportunities with the county. They have an agricultural fieldman, and I think that maybe we can talk to them about how we can share some more of their resources for some of those kinds of services down the road.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Does that kind of help answer that?
It does, yeah. I
So-
just wanted to make sure that we're not in the red.
You know, what's a really good idea too, Molly kind of made me think of this. We have coming up before June, we have to finalize our JUPA agreement, and you sit on that committee, the joint user with the Aspen View. So maybe that's something we can bring forward at the time and talk about discussions there.
Okay.
And so I see Molly's writing it down, so it's gonna be flagged. Thank you for that. I have a few questions and I want to share the floor space, but I see our FCFS director is here with us, so I'm on page I'm on page 10 of 91. It's the first page of budget by object.
91, just a second.
Yeah, and page 33 of 114. So we have two areas, towards the middle, bottom middle, it says FCSS. We're at 58,000.
Marianne,
Sorry.
choose that budget over. Could you use the whatever number of 91? Because there's like 2 pages.
10 of 91.
10 of 91.
Yeah. And then it's the first page of budget by object. Okay, and then there's lower down, there's also FCSS, the grants. So we had a great presentation yesterday, is that yesterday or the day before?
I know,
days ago?
honestly.
So was that today? So one long day. We had the great presentation. Michelle, you touched a little bit about the numbers. So there's, just to fully understand this one grant, it's 80% contribution from the town, 80 from the province, 20 from the town. Is that what we're looking at in the 58? And how does that break down?
So the town over contributes, which I think you had
Okay.
touched on when we were talking, it's a few meetings ago now.
Okay.
But that breakdown out of that, so 35,000 is coming from the province.
Yeah.
And 35,000 is coming from, well, not quite 35,000, 34,000, because the total budget is 69,000 for the year.
Okay, so I'm looking at 58.
Yeah, sorry. The
So-
budget, because this is,
Sorry.
I
Am
know
on the
what
wrong
you're,
Page or,
no, you're not. Just give us one more, see, like, I'm looking at this.
so it's
So-
the.
No, I was like, I know, but this is what I was.
Sorry,
It's okay, we'll figure it
I'm on this
Here.
page, so I'm.
Yeah.
So,
I guess I don't know where it's.
We're just comparing
yeah,
financial.
And are you talking revenue?
yeah, I'm on the budget by object, page 1, that's all the revenues, right? The grants. Okay. You know what, would you mind, and I actually thought of it too, would you mind if we just called a 5-minute recess and race to the bathroom and we can check that out? So I'd like to call a recess at 6:44 p.m. Okay. Thank you for that. I'd like to call the meeting back to order at 6:56 p.m. Welcome back, everyone. We're gonna wait, either Crystal or Rochelle will give us the explanation.
Okay, so for the revenue side of things, the FCSS provincial grant is 80%, and I pay 35,000,
Okay, sorry.
and then the town contributes roughly 24,000.
Okay, so on the initial grant at the 80% of $34,000, the town's contribution would be about $8,000. So we're based on that math, the over contribution is about $15,000. Now, I guess if administration feels that I'm crossing the line, you can stop me. And my next question would be the money that's the 15,000. Is that for programming, or does that offset some of the HR costs that you provide the lead on, or is that, what is the 15,000 do? Okay. But am I okay to ask that question or frame it?
Yeah, go ahead, Michelle, you have more than.
So my salary gets split across the grant and the municipality, so the HR component actually gets charged back to the municipality portion, so that's not reflected in my pay that's accounted for under the FCSS grant. So that wouldn't be allotted into that 15,000 overage, that 15,000 overage is in programming.
Direct service delivery of programming.
Yes.
Okay, and thank you for that. So then when we go lower to that same page, it says FCSS other grants. And there was congratulations for receiving the 137 in 2025. And then we're on budgeted for 90,900. What is, can you expand on that, or is that a one-time grant, or is that the Navigator one, or?
Deferring to Rochelle.
Yeah, sorry, do you know where I'm at now, or?
14 of 91.
I'm on 14 of 91. Is that what
11
you're-
of 90, or 10 of 90.
I'm near the bottom.
Oh, 10 of 92. Be better, and that's on the very second from the bottom.
So also what happens in FCSS, in the budget is Meals on Wheels. So we'll have a revenue for Meals on Wheels, and we'll have an expense for Meals on Wheels, so it's an in and out, and also the community food basket. So that comes in as a revenue when people come in to pay for the food basket, and then also it offsets as the expense, right?
And
So-
so that was the New Horizon grant? Bulk of that maybe?
So the New Horizon grant is included in that as well. So that 90,000 encompasses to Crystal's point, like the Meals on Wheels revenue, the New Horizons grant, the Canada Day grant, the community food basket. So one of the things that Crystal and I would like to work on and bring back, and we were even actually talking about this today, is like if we wanted to do a deeper dive around just like the grants in the new year, to show it, because what happens is, for example, like now that we have our total grant spend on FCSS, for example, when you look at it through these reports, it includes Meals on Wheels, but Meals on Wheels offsets itself. So it doesn't always seem like obvious when you're looking at the reporting this way. So sometimes it can be harder to understand exactly where we're at. So we're hoping to build some custom reports that will provide more visibility onto how we track it on the back end. And the other thing that I would say is, for example, when we got SILP, I now, so when we got SILP, I now embedded into SILP is $9,000 for administrative costs, for management costs. However, I don't get a raise because we got a new grant. So what we're doing is we're now charging some of my salary to SILP. And that lowers my salary from FCSS, which increases my program spend on FCSS. So over the next 2 years, we're actually gonna see $9,000 higher in program spend on FCSS because we are able to reduce my cost on FCSS to increase my cost on SILP. And these are the things that I would like to provide that visibility on.
And I think that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
I think if council has that appetite too, because
I'd
with
love
every grant, you're able to charge an administrative fee, right?
100%.
So, yeah, so
And
that's
and
getting the maximum amount of dollars, right? So.
And even like rent and utilities, like, so there's a portion of SILP every annual year that's allotted to my pay, and then there's a portion that's rent, utilities, etc. And so with that, that's adding in incremental, and so then we can start to reduce spend on FCSS, which then can increase certain programs like seniors programming, etc. So those are the types of things that seem a little bit convoluted to explain, but it is what Crystal and I would hope that we could maybe spend time in the new year
Yeah.
doing a deeper dive on it.
And thank you for that. I think even a broader, deeper dive when we have time of all grants, because the ACP, what's out there, where are we in the grants? Like almost like a grant review or a grant tracker. We've had some for 2 years. Are we finished? Are we getting new ones? Where are we at? Just to recap, kind of a status update. So I appreciate that. If that could come forward. I don't think we need a motion at this time, but if you just have it on your radar, that would benefit all council. And thank you for the explanation. I would like to look at moving to the next page where we go into the expenses. So I'm on the third line and I'm on page 12 of 91. Oh, yeah. And so our salaries for the organization, and that's all the part of the grants that we talked about and the summer students and everything. Am I reading this correctly? We're going up about 25,000 from 2025. 2025 we were at 895, so 8,000 or 100,095. We're projecting to go up 920, 221. So that's so $25,000. Is it just
Cool.
We have not in COLA at this time.
No, you didn't? Oh.
No.
do you see where I'm at?
Yeah.
Who wants to?
His numbers were
So who wants to?
I wish it was. Yeah, Crystal will,
Who wants to
I
speak
know
to the
that-
increase?
Well, I know, but I have.
Sorry, you're speaking.
No, it's just.
maybe we'll answer that.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay.
So when we do budget for salaries and wages, our process is in July, so mid-year, we do performance evaluations on staff. If it's an acceptable performance, they get a step increase, which is a 3% increase on their grid, like on their.
So that's strictly
So that's the only
strictly
thing.
Molly deal. Right?
Oh, yeah, so like as per our policy, I do have to approve. Let me pull that up, sorry. Cause I think I only approve if it's more than one step increase. Other than that, it's just the standard practice for them if it matches the performance rating to be increased. I only jump in at two.
Performance evaluations are required and they're once a year.
Yeah.
So she'll look it up and
Yeah.
meanwhile, I just wanted to know, so that new number 920, that is everybody in the organization from our custodial, or no, sorry, from our family resource, all the grants, everything, everyone that goes through salary except contractors makes up that number. And so,
Custodian is actually,
sorry, I shouldn't have, that was a bad example.
so she's.
With exemption to the fire.
How about the dog catcher?
Yeah, but he's in a separate budget.
Okay.
Yeah, except for the designated officers of the, like, the fire chief, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So is everybody,
Yeah, we'll be talking about that a little bit
Will we?
further on regarding,
Will we?
you'll point it out to when we're dealing with the fire,
yeah,
how we're gonna be paying that.
Yeah, it's correct. What I said is correct.
okay, and thank you for that. So just, again, just for understanding, so I'm gonna work down on that same page. So, for example, 2 line items, we're gonna look at travel and subsistence and training and development. So this is a hypothetical situation. We are going, in training, we're going from 15,000 to 24,000. That's on almost an increase of, well, it's $9,000. Hypothetically, what if we had no money? So, what are we training? Can we, council, is it interesting to council to know what we're training and get a detailed breakdown of who's going where and what?
Well, with the changes, I guess I need more training.
But you're not in administration.
I know.
Yeah.
So this doesn't include like our training?
No, this is
No.
just administration, because council has a separate GL, kind of.
Go ahead.
And what we did sometimes, and I don't know if this
I
is a
thought it
good,
was maybe blended on some things that you were, okay, no.
so what we previously we would bring things up on the screen if that's a useful tool, or we could see the details, or if you just want to walk us through it, or.
So the 2026 budget is, I aligned it with the 2025 budget right now for the training and the travel. So that also includes conferences, and training courses,
Yeah, I can hear. That would be like
Conference.
NACLA. Some employees, I believe, have been taking NACLA training. There's the Fed Gas conference. This would include conferences like Alberta municipalities, LGAA, SLGM.
So this is the training budget for every department except FCSS. They have their own training budget. So this includes public works, administration, and
Yeah, everything.
okay.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, if we didn't have any money, are we able to trim in this area? I'm assuming that our staff is hired and they're trained, or.
Well, there's ongoing professional development that our staff are expected, especially in the public works, like there's certifications to maintain. For myself, there's certifications to maintain. Crystal is a finance officer. So there's a lot of regular ongoing training that we should provide.
So
Yeah, they come, obviously we hire with the standard requirements as listed in the job descriptions, but also just to ensure that they are continuously improving themselves and in accordance with their professional development plan through the performance management tools that we use as a town as well.
okay, and thank you for that. It's just, to me, when I look at it and I say I was frugal, it is a huge increase in the training is 9,000, and then the travel is almost 12,000 from where we are actual. I'd assume our training is done for the year, that there shouldn't be any more expenses coming in the last part of like the month of December. So we're up to date. And now we're looking at increasing those 2 GLs by a significant number. Is that realistic? Is that where we need to be?
I think you're looking at the actuals, what we have spent so far compared to the budget, right? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay, so we budgeted for 25,000 for training in 2025, but we used 15. And would you say we're up to date with it?
Caspid conference will be coming up.
Yeah, there's still some coming up that we need to factor in,
But yeah, I mean,
Okay,
like FedGov for sure,
okay,
so
so,
which is a bigger one.
okay, and how many people are we sending to FedGals?
We sent 3,
Okay, and we're sending the operators, right, not admin?
yeah, I don't.
one admin, for just the service portion for the personnel, and then, the 2 operators, I guess. Operators, yeah.
Okay, so. Okay, and so we're not using all that we're budgeting for, and I mean, yes, I understand there's some required training, but are we sending people on courses to, do we have a policy in place? How's that?
Yes, and anything over $1,000 needs to be approved through the CAO. So as part of my job to ensure that any staff that's taking training or conference or et cetera is kind of in alignment with performance management plans and benefit of the town.
And prior, I'll get you right away, Crystal. So prior to the policy I'm asking about, prior to, we had a policy where you took a training and you stayed with the company for a year. And if you didn't, then you had to pay back that.
Yes.
So we still have that.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know that's what you
Sorry,
were
I
speaking
should-
about.
And
Yeah,
what
I just have it in front of us.
What policy is that? Sorry.
I had to look this up not long ago.
Sorry, and I don't mean to, it's not to be combative.
Personnel
In
policy.
the section it's under, it's a personnel policy.
Okay.
I had to look this up.
It's just for information. I'm not being, I don't want to be combative. I just, we're all learning this, we're going over it. This is,
Yeah, I can't speak to what was factored in for previous CAO as well, but I do have my CLGM designation, and so there are a couple likely additional 2 for sure, probably conferences that if somebody without the CLGM designation maybe or may not have attended as well. So I know that that's factoring in for the CAO.
more discussion?
So just a curiosity question, if it doesn't get used, like if, so we had 21,000 budgeted for 2025, you only used 8,000 or 9,000. If it doesn't get budgeted, if it doesn't get used, where does it go? Into service.
Accumulated service. Okay.
So, and to add to that, just your little name tag is in the lights.
This is hanging.
Yeah.
Barely.
I can't find that. Rochelle
So
brought that up for me last time.
part of it is when we approve the budget as council, the benefit or, we're asking questions now. So when we approve the budget and then we hear the spending takes place, it's approved within the budget. So this would be a good place to ask the questions and a good time. It's not to say that it's not gonna come back in July, in maybe January. We might do, depending on council, we might do the budget first and then the strategic planning to see what we can afford, but we'll have that discussion later, okay? Yeah, so I got Crystal and then I got Tegan, go
I
ahead.
just wanted to add that in 2025, we didn't have a CAO in place for a little bit, so there was some training that would have happened in there. I didn't attend the LGA this year.
Yeah.
Conference, so there's that as well.
So
Right, so this year was a little hard to,
yeah, it's a.
next year, I don't know.
Not a good measure. And I would like to, that is one I'd like to see the details on, if there's a way that we can either pull it up on the screen or just see who's going to what. And so just to ensure that we're sending the right people, we're not missing anything. And if we are taking courses, that it's pre-approved by the CAO, but anything, if we're sending 2 people to LGA8, because you're both members, right? Just so we have that understanding.
Yeah, I mean, we can put together the list because I think, Crystal, you pretty much put that together based on, yeah, mainly 2024, so. If you want like a more detailed
Yeah,
list,
and
bring
just-
that back.
My whole thought of bringing this forward is there's an increase. And yeah, I know we didn't do some things as a result of, but there's an increase from what was being used. And why are we increasing those two? And significantly in the travel, if we're only at 8,700 and we're budgeting for 20,000. That's.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll go through, likely actuals is from 2025 is probably not a good benchmark, but what we could do is we could bring the breakdown of what the 2026 includes, because that's real time, that's according to who's here now, and we know where people are sitting in their training plans as well, so I think that would be the better plan of,
Yeah, I would agree. Is that okay with everyone?
so I could bring that
Sounds good.
more details on that back for sure.
How does that sound? Okay, so working down there, I think we talked about debentures a little bit and,
Question of debentures?
oh, certainly, go ahead.
For debentures, so you're estimating 174, that's because of the water, right? But that will be offset by what we just voted on for the 0.6, okay. And for the 60 cents, okay.
And that answers your question.
It does, yes.
Thank you. And so we're projecting the land sales at 120. Is that the hope is, or the idea maybe to sell some of the tax recoveries or?
Or the other one we talked about the other day.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay, and so I think we talked about this previous council, that when we're doing our operating budget, if we're selling land to balance the budget, that's probably not good, but then we take it and we put it in reserves, is that it, or?
So when we do budgeting, for many years, there's always been an allotment of lots sold or land sold for the revenue coming in.
Sure.
Harvest Gold, beside the Beaver Creek, that is, land for sale. So that could bring in revenue.
And I think Pam has also provided in this package a list of lots as well.
Yeah, she did prepare
This
everything
again,
that
yeah.
was sold and everything.
Yeah, it's at the end,
And,
near the end.
and
Where
so,
did you see that, Marianne?
that was back on the first page for the land sales, midway down, so it's my page 10 of
Okay, I
91.
see that, yes.
Land sales, so 120, but then the other one was the doctor's house. Right. Okay, and so just working through that, anyone else have any questions? I see the value of what is, what Rodney presented to us, and I also see the value of, doing a little bit more in depth, not necessarily a line by line, but just having that dedicated time. And I would hope that that would come in January or February when we will adopt, probably the goal is to adopt an interim budget and then bring everything back just to have a deeper dive. So go ahead, Molly.
Oh, and I was just gonna mention, I don't know if I already did, but December 16th, we had currently flagged that we can do that approval at the 16th. Doesn't necessarily need to be tonight.
Okay.
Just so council is aware.
Okay,
Yeah, because then that'll give us, but after that point, we won't be able to meet that December 31st timeline, so it'll just need to be at that meeting or tonight, but.
And so the December 31st timeline is a requirement by the MGA, and at least we can do the interim. Yeah, so then my earlier question was page 42 and 44 of 114. They don't balance because there might be some increases to COLA, and so we'll work through that. And I talked about this earlier, and I don't know where we landed. So at a preliminary budget meeting, November 24th, I mentioned about the minimum tax for vacant properties, and it was at 800, and I felt that that was high based on some of them, and I was hoping it would come back at 600. Previous council went from 400 to 600 to 800, and going door to door, there was some feedback. We don't know how many vacant properties we have, the goal of increasing it was to get people to build. I don't know, I don't have any data, but Crystal's shaking her head, she might have that data at this time. And I know that would have to be in our tax rate bylaw and would be a motion of council, but I'm just earmarking that for everyone. Go ahead, Crystal.
If council wants us to bring forward a minimum tax comparison with other municipalities like we have in the past, we can definitely do that. I do know that some lots did end up getting sold and there's new development on them, so it's strategy, but I can definitely bring back more information if you wanna look at it.
The one I'm more concerned with, I agree with you there, but what I'm more concerned with is a minimum when it's got a house on it.
Then that doesn't apply to this scenario.
It's only vacant, yeah.
Vacant,
I know,
yeah.
but
So then it's not vacant. What do you mean?
because
by-
there's some, what I'm saying is, there's some uninhabited
Yeah, yes,
houses
that's the right term, yeah.
that
The opposite of what I
Right.
say.
the grass is 3 feet high and they're a fire hazard.
Yeah.
And like there should be, like we should have a minimum if there's a house on that lot.
Yeah, or if it's deemed seasonal, but I think the community standards bylaw should still apply to that even.
Do we
Yeah.
have a minimum on those?
Yeah. And we were in the
Now we're
sorry,
gonna come back to
we
that.
were in the process of changing it because
Oh,
the timeline, there was too many, there was a window of opportunity that was exceeding what was realistic. So by the time the notices went out, it was a month later and the grasses were not getting cut, so.
Yeah.
Unsightly lot or something like that. wouldn't
Yeah,
that cover
It was, historically it was unsightly and then it shifted, the new name is Community Standards Bylaw.
Yeah, no, I just had a question on that. I have received a couple of calls about that requesting meeting with myself and or council, depending on where that goes. But the conversation on that, so does council want us to bring this back in the new year then with some options on that? Like you're gonna make a motion to it or?
Sorry, and then, so the conversations were from
About the-
landowners?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, minimum
Yeah.
tax rates, so
But they didn't move.
I don't know what they did, but they're not in favor of the current minimum tax rate. They would like it lower.
So this is a vacant lot?
the vacant lot.
Yeah, vacant, yes, sorry, to confirm, I don't know
A
where they
vacant lot
live.
is not bad, this doesn't have.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got probably whatever, right, but I mean.
Yeah,
Unsightly.
but I mean, maybe we can speak to that as well at the same time. So I'll look at that.
Yeah, I think there's
I don't know
some
what other-
discussion to be had. Administration prepared it, I presented it last time very professionally. There was some comparisons with neighboring communities. And I think we were a bit high and there was some intention.
Yeah,
To
I
get
think you
developed.
were, because I did my own homework too. Neighboring communities and comparison to the town of Smoky Lake, not, it was apples to apples.
Okay.
And yeah, so when you use a lot as a bare lot, so then you get a bill in the mail saying, oh, okay. So what do? Don't argue about it, you just pay the tax bill and move on. But it brings question of council of the day just going to ask extra $200 here, extra $200 there. Tells me how they manage their books, trying to squeeze the extra $200 out of the pockets of people that actually invested in the community. So it tells me maybe where's the financial responsibility of council of the day?
Point taken. I have received your information. Thank you, Councillor Kudla. Would you like to talk about the fire now?
Yeah, do we have any money to pay for it, to do the buy-in?
Well, okay, let's take a look at that. So we're budgeted for 163, is it? Or sorry, we're
And where's the money coming from? Is there actually money in operations or
What page?
well, what page?
are we gonna,
Expenses.
are we gonna sell the fire hall to pay the bill?
No, we're not gonna do that.
Oh, okay, no, I'm just.
Page
Sorry,
of 91, give us that one.
Not fair.
Right.
I'm not there yet, sorry. I believe it's page 13.
So yeah, this ties into the The schedule allowed to form the regional fire bylaw that council just gave ratings to, right?
And it was,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm not gonna use that page. It was better explained on that chart. So we were,
Eye chart.
Was it on 15, the one that was color coded?
I saw Dan was on that page, but I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't looking for his shoulder. So on page, you can see it first on page 38 of 114 or page 15 of 91. And so there's,
15 and 91?
15,
Yeah.
yeah.
so if you go down to here, fire services, the 160. Can't read upside down.
16107.
Yeah, so previous budget, or sorry, the reason it didn't go, we didn't use the money because it hasn't been regionalized. So now that's being rolled over. So previous council budgeted 160,000 for this budget, 2025. Nothing has gone through. So I believe those funds are still earmarked. And then we would add an addition, or we would take away $31,966 and contribute 128 this year. 2026. Will that be enough? We don't know. Probably not. Will it?
What do they got planned?
Well, no one knows. We haven't had a meeting.
Crystal has her hand up.
Yeah, I don't know if you wanna pull this.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
So in the regional agreement for fire services, I believe it came last meeting.
Yeah,
So that is the actual, the town's contribution, that was an actual, the 128. 141. So it had the budgets for 2026, 2027, and 2028 as a scheduled in that agreement.
Remember in the bylaw?
yeah.
I have that here.
Yeah, no, okay.
Allocation from the town is at 15.01%. So it's broken down. County's just over 77, town at 15, Velna is almost 4, and same with Lisetna.
That's been a long time.
Yeah, that's been a 5-year process.
Yeah.
So my understanding this started in 2020 and it was just approved by the individual municipalities, and then now it's a regional bylaw to be implemented January 1st. And that's all the information I have.
So, yeah, I guess people that sit on the committee will have to bring back the information to
Yeah.
council. And I agree, there's probably a lot of work to be done yet. We're not there.
I think I'm one.
I am, I know that.
Oh,
You can check your little charts and everything, but is there any more discussion you'd like to see on this?
So it's just,
It's coming out of operating.
yes, it's just, at the end of the day, all the asks and the change of there's no endless supply of cash. We don't have money-making machines. And we can only sell so much land. Actually, we're running out of land. And a few other things.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, Crystal.
Another thing to note, another strategy to increase our investment income would be to invest some money. So
Low
that,
interest.
so high interest savings account. Or different options, so that is something administration wants to bring back to council to review.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. I have 2 more points. So I talked about this a little bit yesterday, and we were talking about roads, and John was here. So in the trailer park area, we don't have a road at the newest parts where what will we be doing? Are we going to
Is
just?
there a right of way? Well, Pam here, is there a right of way there?
I don't know.
What's-
I don't, and yeah, you're right, Pam's not here, sorry. Yeah. But it's funny because, again, when we went campaigning, there, at one time, I thought there was back alleys supposed to be here between the 2 of them. You might remember that.
I mean, in between them?
Yeah,
No,
well, how do you get Okay, so then how would you get road access to this one when there's no
Well,
road?
there's supposed to be,
John,
there was supposed to be a lane going that way. And we're not sure if there was a back alley allocated
Yeah.
through the outside edge. So
so,
I'm not the development officer.
There was a
Oh,
gravel.
maybe phone Joan. Oh,
go ahead, John.
There was a gravel lane installed on, if you're looking at that map.
Yeah.
On the right. Yeah, right where you were just pointing.
Yeah.
There was a gravel lane installed there. I believe it was approximately 2 years ago. And then in the back there is a utility right of way.
Back, the fence? which is
Sorry, just
the north?
in between, in the middle of those lots.
Okay, so there is a utility
There's a
right,
utility right of way, so there's,
so not an actual alley, but.
no,
there's like our gas
easement,
main line is there, and I think power as well,
utilities.
overhead power.
Okay, so then, my notes say, would it qualify for anything with the HAF grant? For an actual road to service the new people that are buying or that are building and developing along the far east side that doesn't have a road but has 2 fire paths. To me, that's not a road, and then it stops.
I mean, I think that's a question, that's a great question. We're going to bring a report on our HAF funding. And I think that's a good question for us to look into. I don't know the answer to that, but there is a chance. They seem to be really flexible in the.
And so,
Well,
to speak to that, give me one sec. So what Molly's saying about HAF is the Housing Accessibility Affordability Funding, it's a grant. Every year we receive about 100.
Accelerator fund.
Yeah.
I keep saying affordability, so
Yeah. No, I don't
thank
even.
you.
So
We're on the same page.
Say $114,000 a year, it might qualify for some of these capital projects that can be
Yeah.
speaking to housing, so.
We can earmark
Lighting,
that.
there's lighting, maybe there could be additional lighting in that area as well, we can bring that up as a future development.
And sorry, can you give me the area name?
Maria Close.
Maria Close, yeah.
Sorry, it's just Maria Close, so it'd be
Yeah.
the very east end.
Yeah.
I can tell you the people who have the lots there, but I'm not gonna use the names.
So that's okay. I think it's gonna be a very general question anyway, so we can look into.
Okay.
Yeah, we are bringing that back, so you'll get a more,
Detailed,
an overview of how we can use the fund, some ideas for that, and how we can further hopefully leverage those funds too.
okay, last question, so previous council last year implemented a $2 per bill charge for mailing of a hard copy of your bill, and that was gonna generate some revenue, and then we had the mail strike, so approximately how much revenue was achieved from that initiative?
I was gonna bring a report back for that
Oh,
too.
okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm thinking if we decrease the minimum tax rate and increase the postage, we're gonna offset but I don't know how many lots there are, so. Are we having fun yet?
Well, never asked me about the question, I put my hand on just one moment.
Oh, sorry.
And me, yes,
Might hurt his feelings.
Sorry.
well, no, if you want my input, fine, if you don't.
Always, just give us. Aw. The bonding moment.
Well, instead of arguing over $8,000, then we spend $120,000 on the pavements.
Oh, sorry, no, I'm not paving it.
Well, you mentioned you putting pavement in there over top of the gravel, so.
Well, this isn't Barhead, we're used to, if it moved the.
No, I'm just actually looking at,
It's,
you're saying something about a number here and then spending a pile of money on lots that you almost gave away. So where's the economic sense of supplying a service and a thing where's your cash recovery? Be different if there
Go
was.
ahead, Crystal, save me, please.
I'm still looking.
Oh, I'm just looking at the logic behind the finances on that thing, sorry.
Go Got it. No need to apologize.
So it's not in a GL by itself, so
Okay.
there's other revenues in there.
Okay.
Gave me a couple of minutes, I could figure it out.
Sure.
Is it important or is it?
No.
We're not changing it. We're
We're
not
not
saying we're not gonna charge for setting up.
Yes, no,
So on
Go
the,
ahead.
the other part, on your part, what talking about the paper bills, and so. Yeah, utility companies charge you extra fee, it's either your phone bill or whatever, you charge you extra $15 for a paper copy to be sent to you. And then, but if it's electronic. Sent to your email, it's free.
Okay, in the town, $2. I just wanted to know
So-
basic information only, so, okay. I can wait for the good news to come later. So not a problem, and
this is going back to land sales.
Hey.
Um,
we have a question from Counselor
Maybe.
Churn.
yeah, based on land sales, like that, our land sales goes into basically general revenue, right? Yeah. I have an issue with that because like Dan said, or said multiple times, we're gonna run out of lots and it's not a sustainable thing. You know, so like, yeah, you buy the water, you sell the water, that's all a cycle. Yeah, and the land, I'd like it in a different area because might need that money set aside. We have to purchase an extra piece of land for development or something, you know, because in the future. And I mean, lately, a lot of land has gone in the last year, so I think we have to.
I got down and the list.
As an analogy, Farmer Mike is, keeps selling off his milk house because he needs money for his operations. And he has, his business is to sell milk.
Yeah, no, I
And
know,
then at the end of the day,
tells a factory.
he doesn't have any milk house to sell milk.
So can we like next year or whatever, can we really look at that?
Sure, I'm one vote.
Yeah, I kind of have that earmarked in the framework
Okay,
for that
'cause, yeah.
conversation, yeah.
Currently, we sell the land and then at the end of the year, we put it into a reserve.
Oh, it goes into a different.
Yeah.
It's not, okay,
But the way it looks now, it
Is
almost
it
looks.
earmarked as land
Land
sale?
sales
Or
reserve.
is it just general?
Land sale.
So what happens is sometimes, especially with tax recovery, it has to have a special bank account. Right?
yeah, which is good, I don't got no problem with that.
As long as it's earmarked, then
Yeah.
you can trace it back.
So I forget who's up first. Was Crystal up or?
So on your point, land sales, is that just shoring up the budget to make the budget look good?
Yeah,
And
that's
then
right.
all of a sudden,
Well,
the operations, the thing is using up the money just because, but at the end of the day, it's the final number, because everybody looks at the final number.
So-
And when you're saying, oh yeah, you're,
I like the budget to be a full cyclical. Yeah, I don't,
just,
and
you're gonna run out of money.
so probably, yeah, and we're not getting any more from the government. That's
Oh,
the part.
the government's
So-
not giving nothing more.
Just to kind of recap on this, how much are we getting for operational in the LGFF for 2026? Do you know that amount? Or
132,000.
is it somewhere in the package?
Yeah, it's allocated.
What page? We may have covered
It's
that.
factored in there.
Yeah, it's factored in. It's the LGFF operating can only be spent on operating, and that's an annual contribution. It's under grants.
So.
That's
We're gonna ask you what
enough.
page.
Rents.
I'll look on mine.
So while the ladies are looking, so we know, we heard from Rochelle the other night that there will be a provincial increase from FCSS. And so we know we over contribute by, say, let's just say $15,000, okay? And we know that that's going to programming. And the budget's healthy with the grants because Rochelle's gone and done a lot of work to get the grants, okay? And so then we know we get 132,000 with the government of Alberta contributes and it's operating. So if we take out the land sales and we're budgeting 120, where would we find the 120? And I'm not interested in increasing taxes
Mhm.
to balance our budget. So what has been proposed to us today is the 2% increase. So that means we're gonna increase the mill rate by 2%.
No, we're not. You guys increased the mill rate 2 years ago. How much can you keep taxing it up?
Well, okay, so right now jury's out because the assessment's not in. So once the assessment comes in, I would,
I'm gonna vote against that, cause that's,
okay, then how,
you can't keep taxing people or have to start looking at the efficiencies on how things are being run, and there might have to be some cutbacks on how things are. I just explained it on how the operation, okay, look at how much you need people to work here, that's fine. You need staffing and everything, you just seen on the budget, how much money you're spending on employees. And that,
Okay.
now as the full picture, now you're looking at the other scope, how much money you're bringing in tax roll.
okay,
It's even.
It's pretty simple math. It's like, I better go back to grade 1 and talk to Mrs. Flaska if she's around yet.
she's.
She was a wonderful teacher.
Okay, on time, on budget, go ahead, Crystal, you have an answer to that question or no?
I haven't. I'll get
Okay,
it
sorry,
back to
sorry.
paper.
So, thank you, and thank you for that. And you know what, thank you, Dan, we're all at the same meeting. I asked-
No, but
I
you can't
asked-
just go and fix the thing by taxing people more.
So good news, we're gonna have another budget meeting next year, if we make it. Go ahead.
The savings on some of the capital expenditures, like the grader and all that, is that reflected in this current number we're looking at?
This is operational only. Operational only, we're at $4.3 million to run the organization and keeping it at the same service delivery standards that we currently have. Go ahead, Molly.
I think, I didn't do this whole package justice. There's a lot of information in here, but I think if we go, I think important document for council to look at is on page 86 about taxation.
86 of 91.
Yes,
Sorry.
should be.
Oh, that's the way.
A long way down. Yeah, it's near the end of the package. And it just kind of gives an overview on our taxes and what we've historically done.
So
86, yeah, this is part of that,
so 86 and 91.
yeah.
And what would you like to draw our attention to?
Oh, just the table, in 20, yeah, taxes increased by 2%.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to show this table, and it is just showing how we have been keeping up with inflation, as Crystal said.
Okay, so now, okay. So we started the conversation. Counselor Frugal asked if we could cut the budget in anywheres. That's my new name, Counselor Frugal. And administration said it's pretty tight.
Yeah.
So we've kind of gone around the room. We might be at different places in our journey of budgeting. For tonight, we're on time on budget. We're going to probably, December 16th, we're probably going to accept, or we're going to make a motion to accept an interim budget, maybe 50% of this to get us operational till June. We know the long range planning is going to come back to us. We could do it January before we get to strategic plan to see what we can afford. There's I'm going, okay, you want to jump in? Go ahead.
I'm jumping in with Counselor Frugal.
Oh, me or no, I'm Counselor Frugal. I asked at the beginning, can we cut?
You're Mayor Frugal. That's Counselor Frugal.
I think, yeah, can I comment on that though?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and as explained, it's a very base budget based on, I guess, how we operate now. Like Rodney said, never tell council no, you can definitely cut, but then it's our job to just provide what that impact looks like.
But as his perspective, he said a lot of things.
Well,
And the thing is, that's his idea, and maybe that works somewhere, but we have to get a handle on what's happening here.
I somewhat agree. Thank you for that. Rodney's presentation was excellent. It was for maybe he works in a larger municipality, the county, but the fundamentals are still the same. And so I want to meet the middle ground. I appreciate the work that's gone in. We know we have some projects coming to us that we want to get behind. Maybe there is opportunities to revisit this. I think for now, the information we have in front of us. So I pointed out a couple things. Maybe we look at the travel and training. Maybe we look at the FCSS over contributions. Do we want to decrease our service level? Or what have we heard from the taxpayers? Do we want to increase in areas and decrease? Like I learned a lesson from Councillor Scarf last night. When we say no to something, we have to say yes to something else. Or we say yes to something, we say no to something else. So it's that give and take and finding the balance. And so it's my commitment to all of you as a team and to our community that we have a balanced budget and we're fiscally responsible. Go ahead.
I agree with that. But I think there are some efficiencies that can happen very easily that could probably make a difference of maybe all around, not just whatever, but probably $250,000 easy.
Okay, well, okay, so here's the thing. We started the conversation, Mayor Frugal said, can we cut 2%? So what is 2% of 4.3 million? That's 80,000.
I think the bigger picture,
80,000.
maybe the bigger picture here is, what was the trend of how council was doing the operations,
Prior.
this,
It's
because we just discussed this, and we already agreed to it, and the numbers show that you can't keep selling things off to keep running the same ship.
okay. I agree. That's why we're having the meeting. So again, it's good to look at inefficiencies, but it's good to look at operational standards.
Set a goal. I don't know if we give up any services, honestly. Honestly, I think we just set a goal.
Okay, I can meet in the middle. I was looking at 2% because I don't want to increase our taxes by 2%. So if we could find that 2%, the 80,000, does that mean something? So now we have a bigger just.
2% is pretty easy.
Okay.
Very easy.
Okay, okay, so here we are, and we still have a couple more agenda items to look at. I had promised everyone we'd go back to COLA. So I think we're going to accept the information as presented, and thank you to administration for doing the work. I'm hearing some general themes in the room, and we're going to come back to that, but we know we have a path forward. And so the recommended motion, I don't think we can make at this time because of the COLA, but we can accept the information as presented.
Second to take a look at the motion again.
Sorry, I'm on of the,
When do we have to have the decision for COLA meeting?
there's no real, we can give,
We can do it in June.
and we can retro it, but the better picture is to do it by January and retro it within there. Once the budget's done, the budget's done. It's part of the
passed, we have to have it.
Before summer holidays.
So we can give administration the scenario to work at 2.5 and show us what that looks like, or 1.5, show us what that looks like, and then we can go back so that they have a tentative plan forward. So we're on 4.5, page 23, the recommended motion. We're not able to do at this time because it impacts the COLA. Or we can do a tentative. We're going back to COLA. We can just maybe accept for information.
Yeah, I mean, it's an alternative option. It does say cost additional information. I think there are a few motions you wanted to make coming out of the conversations. Specific to,
Okay, the pickleball,
I'm
or
not sure, it's up to you, if there's,
I'm like,
Give the pickleball $1,000. I mean, don't waste too much time on it.
okay, so do you want Counselor Speedy here? Okay, so do you want a motion for $1,000?
They're all making
No, they're,
$3,000
they're-
towards pickleball.
we don't need,
okay, you know what, we'll keep this simple, I think we have taken enough notes to understand what we want for sure.
okay,
And then there's some things that are gonna be remaining for the rest of the interim budget, so I think council can be comfortable in us providing that on the
Okay.
16th. At this time, we wouldn't include any COLA, though, is what I'm still hearing.
No, I'm gonna go back and make those
Okay.
motions.
Okay.
Okay, so looking around the room, everyone's in a good place, comfortable, good, okay. I move to accept the information discussed in the draft 2026 operational budget discussions, verbal and written presentations. And no more discussion, calling the question, all in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you very much, and thank you, Edmund, for the hard work you did. We're gonna go back to 4.1 as tabled earlier. And my first motion that I would like to put forward, and I can give it to Councillor Churn, is that the Town of Smoky Lake draft a cost of living adjustment policy for council's review and approval to be implemented and brought back to a first quarter 2026 meeting. So we again have some guidelines. Don't think it warrants any more discussion, but if you feel comfortable knowing what you're voting on, all in favor, calling the question, the motion is carried, and thank you for that. And the second one I'd like to put forward, and that would be Councillor Rosachek, that could move that the Town of Smoky Lake present a budget format of two scenarios. First at 1.5% and then at 2.5% for cost of living adjustment to be considered in January. The first meeting is the 13th, January 13th, 2026. And that can be reviewed, further reviewed and then adjusted or retro at that time.
1.5 and 2.5?
Yes,
Okay.
how does that sound? You can vote against me. I'm not gonna take it personally. Sounds good. Calling the question, all in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And that concludes this portion of the meeting. I'd like to bring back other motions and I'm going to probably take that one on myself. We had some really good discussions and probably not gonna have any friends with this motion, but there's a purpose in mind. So when we receive the reports, it's just really quickly, I'm gonna make the motion and preface it with, even if administration can't do it, it's okay. I'm not expecting you to do it. I'm just expecting that we have a motion and we can track it. And that if we are looking at purchasing new software, it's going to be in the budget somewhere, okay? So we initially started the journey of finances and our reports, and even Councillor Kulak mentioned it. So the motion would stand something like this. I moved that administration bring back a reserve report by department from January 1st, 2025 to November 30th, 2025, and a balance sheet to be presented at the December 16th meeting. And again, it's okay if you don't do it. That's the motion. It's okay if you don't do it, but then we have something that says, okay, we're not able to complete this task because we don't have the proper software, we don't have the proper whatever, then we look at how we can incorporate this for reporting purposes. Is that okay?
Sorry, can you slow down and repeat that?
Okay.
There was a lot there.
Okay, so the motion has two parts for financial reporting. So the motion is that the Town of Smoky Lake direct administration to bring back a reserve report by department from January 1st, 2025 to November 30th, 2025, and a current balance sheet to be presented at the regular council meeting of December 16th, 2025.
Speak to the crystal.
There might be some. Are we okay?
Reserve reporting. Okay.
I just wanna not bring it back if it's expected to be wrong.
Right.
Well,
Yes.
I'm not setting you up to fail. I'm just saying there's some discussion as to where we are in terms of the money. And if we don't have the proper software or whatever we can't do, we need to recognize that and say that we're talking about the budget. Then it could lead to say, we'll get 3 quotes, or we'll look at something from admin or processes.
I think, respectfully, you're asking a question. I think we have the ability to answer that question now. And I think if that's the intent, is to look at that for budget implications, then a better motion might be to direct us to bring back the quotes on a new financial software system. Just so,
Okay, I got Dan and then I got,
Monday is the deadline for.
Yeah.
That's, sorry, Carly, it's just one.
no, you're right. And our deadline to have stuff in for the agenda for us is Monday
December 16th, sorry.
before the 16th meeting, yeah. So,
okay,
but I think that's the second part.
okay, so
We need
we're,
stuff to do, so just say what we need and.
I have an email.
Okay, and yeah, that's why I'm asking, so no, Crystal has looked into this already. From the auditors, right? You
Use a
said?
balance sheet
okay,
in our system and we cannot do it without a custom report.
okay. Is there, okay. So I'm gonna let the motion stand and we're gonna do a discussion. Where are we at?
Do you want to discuss it? Why, how did we get?
About
here?
the motion, I
Yeah.
would like to know a discussion about the motion.
Yeah, I just wanna know, question, how did we get here? Before previous CEOs, and I know you, when I asked that question, all you did is push a few buttons and the answers were there.
Those are a balance sheet.
And no, but I'm just saying that things were a lot simpler years ago. So it seems like with all this technology, everything's got more complicated. I don't know if it's just me.
The balance sheet is what we talked about when Rodney was here too, right?
Yeah. We've never reported a balance sheet. Only in the financial statement.
Okay, so,
But I am working with the auditor on the interim audit right now,
okay,
that I could request that he present something. Where we're at right now. There's a lot of year-end year-end
Yeah.
adjustments that have to be done to.
okay, so at some point you might say, please, Marianne, just go into closed session, but here's the thing. If we don't have council's responsibility, if we don't ask for certain things, it might be no, I'm not getting it. It just to strengthen and support the organization, these are things we need. How do we recognize and solve the need? If new council, how can we support admin? What do you know what I'm asking about and why there is a need?
I'm trying to grasp it, yeah.
Okay. So would anyone want to go into closed session?
I think so.
Okay. Is that something? Do I have a general consensus?
Sure. You want to go in closed session, you don't feel comfortable,
Well,
okay,
it's not that I don't feel comfortable. It's sensitive in nature and I
Yeah.
don't wanna
yeah,
put
that's
us in
right.
a
No, you're
situation
going
where
the right
it's,
way. Okay,
can be perceived as combative or something, right? So it's going to be, we're going to enter into closed session. Councillor Kudlak, would you take that motion at
Sure.
7:58 on ATIA?
you got 2 minutes before 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It's gonna be very quick. I'm looking for the ATIA.
Did you make a motion for it?
Yeah, it's 7:58, but I don't know the ATIA. 20. 20. Thank you, Carly. Sorry.
We vote on that?
All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. 7:50. I'd like to come out of closed session at 8:08 PM. And I'd like to withdraw the previous motion that I made to bring back a reserve report and a balance sheet. Following the question, first of the coming out of closed session, all in favor? Withdrawing the motion, all in favor? Motion is carried. I'd like to go back into closed session at 8:09 PM. We're gonna wait.
Call the question.
All in favor? Motion carried. Getting late. Session at. Motion to come out of closed session at 8:10 PM. All in favor? Motion is carried. Motion to direct administration to bring back a reserve report from January 1st, 2025 to November 30th, 2025 to the January 13th regular council meeting, 2026. All in favor? Motion carried. Who swallowed kale? Motion to direct administration to bring back suggestions for software upgrades to, or enhancements to the January 13th regular council meeting. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. We're gonna have another motion to go back into closed session at 8:11. All in favor? Motion is carried. So. Motion to come out of closed session at 9 PM. All in favor? Motion is carried. Motion to accept the information as discussed in closed session, personnel issue. All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned at 9:01 PM. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice evening.
Okay.